so I thought they must see me.
No, because it's the Shire Animal Rescue Sanctuary. They always
And
associate that
now,
with you.
now we are live.
Hello,
We're
everyone.
live.
Hey everybody. Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate
With the
y'all being
vegetable,
here.
please. With the vegetable, please. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, we've got our very special guest, Kacey, Vegetable Police, with us today, and we're very excited for this. Should be a
No,
fun
because
show,
it's
fun
it's the
conversation.
Shire. They always associate
Now,
that with you. Like, wow.
That was
I,
you.
I think it's just a common theme that we always have to have that reverb on every show, just to make sure we're coming in.
It the thing about YouTube is that they don't allow you to modify your the volume or mute the volume until the live starts. So if you
Right.
come in early, you have no option, and then people just forget about it. So
Yeah.
so you would have to remember to go back. So it's just all part of the satanic agenda for YouTube. But that's okay. They're rotting in hell as we speak. So
Right. It's only a matter of
Yeah.
time. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're all here, and so I guess just to give a little introduction to Kacey, Vegetable Police, for those of y'all who have not seen his channel, which I'd highly recommend. I'm gonna put his channel in the show notes, just to make sure you're following along. But Casey's selflessly taken upon himself to try out just about every single diet under the sun, to try out anything that any fad that picks up any sort of extreme food sources or whatever, and then he selflessly documents this, and he authentically just portrays it. But he's got a way about him where he does it with such humor that you can't help but laughing, as he makes fun of himself for whatever he's going through. And it's just a beautiful example of that authenticity that we truly do all need to embody. And we very much appreciate having you here, Kacey. So thank you for joining us.
thank you so much
I
for
call
having
him
me.
I call him the alchemical comedian.
I fell for every diet, every fad out there. I was like, that could work. I think I should try that.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
When you were eating raw meat, yike, yike.
How did I fall for that one? Like, that's because of the raw vegan. That's the only way, because I was like, okay, raw vegan. And then when I did go to the other side trying the carnivore thing, I was like, well, of course, raw. That's the way, just like the vegans. But no, it's just like blood, and it reminds me of, you know what? We don't have to go there today, but what the Kabbalions are doing, and it's just like, it's so disturbing. I don't know how I fell for that. Don't do it. Don't do it.
yeah. I mean, we were even.
I
So,
think
sorry. Go ahead, Charlie.
yeah, I think what you were just going there, and what shows proves is that it is, but we're carnivore. We're not carnivores. We're 100% frugivores. This is the basic mechanics of reality is that 100% inside frugivores, and so therefore everything should be raw. Everything should be natural. But that's for a carnivore. We're not carnivores. There's nothing about us that are carnivores, unless you live in your left brain for 30, 40 years, and then you become the coronavirus, and which is one word, which is a complete anagram for carnivorous, which is what they're telling you in plain sight. And what Justin was just about to say is that we were talking just before the show, and it's just a terrible slippery slope when humans go to this level of eating meat, and then raw meat, then it is a very tiny slippery slope to then eating children, and then this is what you're faced with. The comedians or the talk show hosts, they're just going, yeah, I had my raw child tonight. It was so tasty, so delicious. And it's just, of course we do. Of course we eat children, because that's just what we do, right? We've done it forever. Well, it's been 11 days, but seems like forever. We've just done it forever. And then they just blast it into your head, show after show, narrative after narrative. We've always eaten kids. We've always eaten kids. The earth has always been round and spinning and tilting and wobbling, when every ancient culture has said the exact antithesis to that. But it's always been, we've always eaten meat. And That's the narrative to just get you to shut up and buy into it. Don't think, shut up and follow the herd. And that's what we are, the herd.
Yeah,
They cull the herd.
it's that same pragmatic approach to how they sort of creep in any of their agendas. You know, you see it playing out with the whole sort of gender identity and getting people to misassociate with where they lie, and how sexuality has been so perverted to where everything's allowed, and we're adding any letter under the sun into this category. And it's just that continuation of getting us to break down our moral systems and who we are, into accepting anything and everything. And there's no end to it, because us as naturally good people, we can't immediately jump to this way of thinking. It has to be sort of warmed up to that idea. But that's the slippery slope that they like to get us on, to get us to adopt these sort of things. And we got to recognize it. We got to recognize it and put a stop to it, or we will just keep slipping into it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just the confusion that's out there. Like, I can't wait for disclosure on everything. Like, apparently cavemen didn't ever exist. Is that what's happening? Like, we were never cavemen, and like the whole paleo diet, then that's complete falsities. And it's like, how do we fall for it? They're very good, because like you get one story of someone like curing a disease on raw vegan, they'll post a video, and then the cabal, they're looking at like, uh-oh, okay, that's getting out there, we better debunk that one. And no, the fruit causes cancer, sugar causes cancer. And then they come out, they probably fund studies for it too. And that's why, like, I have compassion for anybody on their journey. They think they're doing the right thing. That's the thing. Like, I thought the carnivore diet was healing me. Like, you notice some benefits immediately. Like, I think just all detox stops completely. And then it's like, okay, we can relax here for a second. And so I understand, like, if you think you're doing healthy, it's hard, because there's so much out there. I get so many comments from people saying like, I have no idea what to eat. They said sugar is bad, now it's fat's bad, and which one? And so you have my compassion. We're just wading through the storm, and it's tough. It is tough.
This is all, sorry, Justin, it's just all biblical. It says it all in the Bible as well, which is that when you take your existence, we just did this yesterday. We just went over this passage yesterday in chapter 20 of the book of Matthew. And essentially, when your reality is taking from the carnal world and from the hands of man, whatever that looks like, this is what you're going to get. And it is a slippery slope to the worst of the worst and hell upon earth. And this is why the central theme of the Bible entirely is take no thought for yourself. When we think for ourselves, and this is what society teaches, go to university. These are the smart people in university, where you get 1 degree and you're an expert in 1 degree, and you find out, like myself, that economics and everything is just complete bullshit. It's just another one of these theories that have no place in, and you spend six years of your life devoted to something that is entirely bullshit. It's staggering. Then you walk away thinking that you're better than somebody else because you're an expert in one thing, and every circle, which is what your head is, has 360 degrees, and the whole point of everything is to illuminate. We have to illuminate 360 degrees. But I went to university and I got 1 degree. I got 1 degree, and oh shit. So when we take from the hands of man, this is what's going to happen, and it'll never change. At the controls here, it's a slippery slope back down to hell upon earth, because this is the way we are. Dependent upon us is when you dance with the demon and the devil and the left, which is the ego, you are playing every single moment of your life. You're going to get your fingers burned. You will absolutely get your fingers burned. That's where that expression comes from. If you dance with the devil, your left brain, by thinking for yourself, you're going to get your fingers burned. The good point or part to that is that we tend to learn best from burnt fingers. We tend to learn best when we get bit by the fire, and it awakens us. And so the whole point of this is cast thy net to the right and trust entirely with the mother and the father. And then this is how you become a family again: father, mother, child, Holy Trinity, father, mother, child. And this is trusting in God, in Mother Nature, and you just simply. And so this is why moving forward, money can play no role in any of this. It's ridiculous. It's just the basis, sort of the second theme behind Jesus Christ in the New Testament of the Bible. First, the number one theme of the entire Bible: take no thought for your life, right brain, not left brain. Stop thinking for yourself, trust in God. God will deliver in every single moment the righteousness that you so righteously deserve. And then the second theme is that Jesus Christ is the kindest man that ever lived. But he's not a pushover. He was tough, but he was the truth. He was kind. He was forgiving. And he loved a trier, and that's what Kacey is talking about as well. None of us are going to lambaste you today. None of us are going to lambaste you today. Although I kind of did. I sprinkled some Christ on you already, but because we have nothing but we don't have judgment, and we have nothing but forgiveness in our hearts for try. When you know better, you have to do better. So I'm going to tell all of you who we have many folks that are here from Kacey's Vegetable Police channel today, and I'm going to just tell you straight up: when you know better, you have to do better. Here's the know better. We're frugivores, 100% provable. You cannot disprove it. 100% of us, inside and outside, we're frugivores. Every single frugivore in this creation, in reality, they're all raw fruit eaters. Some vegetables, some seeds, some nuts. They forage at times because it interests them, and a little bit of different times of the year as well. But predominantly it's raw fruit. And that's it. And so for carnivores, the same thing what they do. They stalk their prey, they make a kill, they lap the blood. The blood is life. They eat. Everyone who wants to live eats life. So carnivores do it the right way. They ingest life. We who are frugivores, who think we're carnivores, we do it exactly wrong. We do not touch the blood. We don't go near the organs. What we do is we take the flesh that is dead and it's rotting and it's filled with worm, and then we cook it on up, and we fill it on up with some Jack Daniels and some sugar. Get that sugar in there, because that's what your barbecue sauce is: 100% pure sugar, flavored sugar. And then let's get it on in there, and let's get some more Jack Daniels in there. And I love my steak. I just love steak. Or do you love the sugar and do you love the Jack Daniels? So we do it exactly wrong. There's no carnivore in history that makes a kill and then eats the flesh barbecued. So none of them do it. You're doing it exactly wrong. There's not one single carnivore in history that has ever focused on the flesh or has cooked their meat. They lap blood. They eat organs because they're filled with blood. But that's about it. It's the hyenas that come later that feast upon the dead and rotting flesh, because the hyenas are the least of that cycle. And they just pick at what's left over. That's it. That's the truth. And when you know better, you have to do better. And so we did a show with Mark Devlin really quickly, and it's like, why do people who go to a vegan diet fail? Because they don't know what vegan means. To be a vegan is to be a frugivore, and to be a frugivore is eating raw. You don't cook your food. And the other thing is that you're just eating raw, unprocessed foods. If you're eating processed foods, then it doesn't matter. Go back to eating meat, because you're not going to get better. If you're having a Bill Gates veggie burger for dinner every night, first off, God knows what's in Bill Gates veggie burger mix. I would imagine some people are in that product, because it's Bill Gates. But you're putting it on bread. There are people out there that still eat bread, that are ingesting yeast. Yeast is candida, and candida is pure cancer. So if you're ingesting any yeast into your body, you might as well get a big heroin needle and stick it into a vein and just pump heroin up.
Now here's the amazing thing about the human body. You can actually live to 60 or 70
Yes.
years, and in somewhat
functioning
state. But we're talking about going past what we consider the threshold of humanity has
Just
lived its life.
surviving.
We're talking about living 100
years
old, not just building muscle and then slowly it fades away and you don't left and you die. We're talking people who are we're talking about vibrancy, we're talking about regeneration.
Yes.
Forever. We're not just talking about, oh, you need protein to build your muscle so you can live 60 or 70 years and you can lift things. We're talking about regeneration. So it's taking our whole paradigm, eating raw meat. Those things, you can try them, but let's just see how far it gets you. Well, we've spent how many years looking at people dying younger and younger now with our technology. It makes no sense. So give your head a shake, re-educate ourselves, because they've lied to us about everything. This is the time now to put your ego aside and do some relearning. That's what we've had to do. We're still doing it. So we're not saying we're the most brightest, well, we are pretty bright, but we're not the brightest minds out there. We can together, we like the experimentation that Kacey's done and other people, it helps us, it aids us all in saying this works, this doesn't work. So this is a beautiful time for all of us, mankind, to build and regenerate our minds and our bodies. That's all I have to say about that.
And really quickly about the Bible is that everything is regeneration. That's why it's resurrection, revolution, reconnection. It's all about the RE word, which is to be born again, constantly being born again. And that's your cells. Your cells will live forever if you just keep them alkaline. When you create acidity within your body, your cells will die. You are an alkaline creation. It's that simple. You are a frugivore, and frugivores must be in an alkaline state. Meat, dairy, and eggs are the highest concentrations of acidic foods there are. There's nothing worse. And then with the dairy products like eggs and cheese and whatever else, they clog your entire system. So it closes everything off. And this is why do you think everybody is now suffering from all of these forms of brain disease? So Alzheimer's and dementia and everything else that comes along with it. Because the synapses for the blood to pass into your head, which is the higher realm, which is heaven on earth for you, they are tiny. They're just, in comparison to the synapses for the blood to flow freely within the body, they are a fraction of that size. So that's why the blood-brain barrier exists, because it's only bringing the cleanest, purest blood. It's only allowing the absolute purest form of you into the Ankh in your head, which is the circle of Willis in your head. And that is this perfect filtration system through the blood-brain barrier to only bring the cleanest, purest blood into your head. There's a reason why we were created this way, because your head has to be clear. You have to be clear of mind, and you cannot be eating cheese and have clarity of mind, because cheese is blocking everything up. And this is what's happening. It's so simple why so many people are dying and suffering from memory loss and brain disease. And it's simply because the synapses in their brain are clogged. The blood will not flow. If there's no flow of blood, there's no flow of information. And that's the building block information, just like right is right, left is left, stand up, sit down, right foot in front of the left, step a little higher because you're going up or downstairs. It's so simple. And those basic commands are not able to pass through a clogged state. It's that simple. Because the internet teaches you the wrong thing. That's what the internet's for, is to obfuscate the truth that does exist with lies, 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 lies. And then they pay these cute girls who are late 20s, early 30s, and they do all these channels about I was a vegan for like 6 weeks and I almost died. Now I'm just back to killing animals and I just feel great. I just feel great. Yeah, and you're paid $100,000 a year by the meat dairy industry to do these things. No, Charlie, they wouldn't do that. Yes, they do. That's precisely what they do. People who will sell their souls for $20 a day or $30 a day or whatever it is. They'll say anything, do anything. That's the kind of reality we now live in. So that's it. When you know better, do better. We just told you the truth. Okay, that's it. We're done for the day.
All right. Thanks for that introduction. Yeah, Casey, go ahead. What have you got for us?
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's some ex-vegans out there who are paid, but like I'm not one of them. I wasn't paid. There's got to be some of us were just, here's the thing, like I was struggling for a while. Looking back, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I was a little bloated and gassy, a bit depressed, but I had some things going on in my life that were, I always blame everything on diet. I try to like, oh, it must be the blueberries that's why I'm depressed. And I put way too much faith into it. But I think at some point, this is why vegans fail. They start to doubt that veganism works. I think it's a psyop. I have a video coming, the ex-veganism psyop. I just believe that the cabal, at some point, they put it out there that veganism was unhealthy, so deficient in so many, look, a baby died. Like there was some Italian family that like killed their baby and it was in the news because it was a vegan. But I've seen so many healthy vegan kids raised from birth. Like what were they feeding that kid? So like there's this whole psyop to get us to doubt it. And that's where I was at some point. Like I literally moved to Thailand, uprooted my life, sold everything because I believed the raw veganism was the way, the fruit based. And I was like, okay, I'm going to the tropics to get the best fruit. And I got sucked into the restaurant foods there. I barely did the fruit diet. I don't know how that happened, but at one point I did 10 days, nothing but fruit. And digestion was weird. I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't enjoying the meals. And I started to doubt the detox path. And like I'm certified in Dr. Morse's course. I know everything that should be happening. And at some point it was like 10 years into this. And I'm like, how do I still have acne? Like what did I ingest? Like I started this pretty young at 26. And I was like, how much detox is left? And I've done like juice fasts and 21-day water fast, 13-day juice fast, a bunch of mono fruit cleanses. And it just, at some point I started to doubt it, but the other side doesn't hold the truth. Like I got some results, things calmed down on the carnivore diet, but when I got my blood test back, like my kidneys were dying, like my EGFR readings and the creatinine was through the roof. If anybody knows, like Dr. Morse is very into kidney filtration. You got to get your kidneys filtering. And well, the higher your creatinine number goes, the worse your kidneys are filtering. So I always look at that when everybody's posting their blood tests and like, oh, look, my cholesterol is low. I'm looking at their creatinine. Like, what's your kidneys like? How's your pee doing? Where's that sediment? Am I seeing it? And usually it's like high, and mine was over 1. Like Dr. Moore says, below 0.6 is what you want. 0.7, that's pretty bad. 0.8, you're not filtering a damn thing. 0.9, like run 1 and up. He's like, you're losing your kidneys at that point. Mine was over 1 on the carnivore diet. And just 6 months on medical mediums approach, which was basically mostly raw vegan, came right back down to like 0.8. Still not perfect, but that's just the thing. Like right now I'm doing 1 meal a day, starch-based vegan, and I'm not breaking out like I usually would on the fruit-based. Just this doubt creeps in that, oh, everything is detox. But now I'm starting to increase my fruit and I'm breaking out more, making me think it is detox. The whole thing was detox the whole time. So it's very confusing. I got a bunch of questions for you, Charlie. I wrote down some stuff.
Beautiful, beautiful, and thank you so much for your honesty and expressing that. You know, the creatine levels within your blood are exactly what you need to be observing and taking a look at. You absolutely have to, because if your kidneys are not doing their job, you're in major trouble. And it's the same thing. If you're ingesting nothing but toxins into your body, then the blood-brain barrier and the circle of Willis, as brilliant as that entire process is, it can't do anything if your blood is completely toxified, because there's no good blood to bring up into the brain, and the brain has to be super fine. It's flying to heaven on gossamer wings. It's silk thread. It's super fine in your brain. That's because your brain is super fine. And so it has to be only purity that goes up into the brain. It's the best of the best. It's the best of the best of us get to go into the brain. And that's why, Jesus Christ is the 13th cranial nerve, right? The best man, the alchemical best man for the mother and the father. So you have to be at your best to get to heaven on earth. This isn't given away for free. If it is, anyone could do it. People complain about how hard baseball is. It's meant to be hard. It's meant to challenge you. Life is a challenge that you have to rise up to. And when you master the challenge, you become a master. And then you ascend, you rise, and you've earned it. And you never forget it when you earn it. If somebody does it for you, you've achieved nothing. You've learned nothing. You've gained nothing. You'll forget everything. If aliens are real and aliens are coming to save us, we will have learned nothing. We will have achieved nothing. And as soon as the aliens go back away, to their galaxy and do their thing again, we'll fall right back into the same mess if we haven't done it for ourselves. It's up to us. You have to. And once you know better, you have to do better. This is the basic protocol to life. So, yeah, with your questions, this is what we absolutely love, because the truth is connected to all things, answers all questions in every single moment. And so, yeah, I'm very excited to hear your questions and be able to give you some answers for them.
Mm-hmm.
But that was brilliant. That was brilliant, Casey. Thank you for sharing all of that.
My pleasure. I just
And
wanted.
it's meant to be.
Go ahead.
No, that's it. It's meant to be confusing. That's just what you're saying. It's all confusing because it's meant to be confusing. They don't teach truth. They teach lies. So their weapon is doubt. All they have to do is give you just enough doubt, and your left brain will do the rest of it. Just a teeny bit of doubt, and that's it. And it ruins it. It spoils the the cream. So. Yeah, that's what they do. Their product is doubt.
Yeah, they do it well. I've fallen for a lot of it. I wanted to touch on something Colleen said about the muscle. Like, you can build muscle and live to 60 if you want, if that's your highest goals. And I just think, what a stupid goal. Like, right now, my goal is to do a 1-arm pull-up. I really want to do this for some reason. And it's like, why? I have to ask myself, like, why did I start building muscle? Because, like, magazines and people were showing, like, oh, that's what you want. Like, I've been brainwashed since a child. Like, I've watched so much TV in my day, just wasted so much time. Just Simpsons, Jerry Springer. It's like, oh, you're not my brother's the father. Oh my God. Like, just such a waste of time. And here I am building muscle, and I believe this is one of the ways vegans fail. They focus on the protein too much. And I do believe you do need protein to build muscle. I've heard like skinny fruitarians saying I don't need protein to build muscle, but how important is this? Not important at all. Like, why are we so brainwashed? And I think it's shortening our life because we have to eat so much more protein, which is then hard on the kidneys. And then we have dirty blood. It's like, for what? Just so I look a little better to me. Like, and I think we're compensating for a lack of confidence, a lack of spiritual confidence, maybe. And we're trying to build up this shell. It's like, oh, but look at me. Look how big I am. Like, it doesn't matter that I haven't done the work. What is the work, Charlie? You got to tell me, what is, you keep saying, do the work. And I'm like, what is the work? Am I doing it? I don't think I'm doing it. What's the work, Charlie?
Well, just to touch on the protein bit, just real quickly, because we create all the protein we could possibly need just by providing the fruit, the fuel for our body to use. I mean, you can look at some of the strongest animals out in nature, like gorillas or elephants or whatever. They're not out there worried about the protein sources that they're getting. They're just eating the plants, which are providing them the fuel to give them what they need. And I don't know if you've followed or if you've seen Josh X on with Charlie at all, but he used to be a professional bodybuilder, and he ate nothing but fruit. He was all smoothies and fruit, and and his routine was just, you have to be consuming a lot of fuel in order to provide that fuel for your body, and you do have to be exercising a lot, but you can very well and very quite easily, even more so easily, because you're not having to add these taxing fuels like these protein powders and meats and things like that to your body, and you're able to just give it what it wants, so it just goes straight to the muscles. You just fill those muscles in that sort of way. But you do make a good point about the sort of vanity aspect to it as well, because that is a trap to fall prey for, when we're focusing on that sort of aspect, other than the holistic, how am I feeling, like what am I doing to purify my temple in order to do the work as we're about to hop into.
Yeah. To that, I just would say, like, I've been doing calisthenics for a long time, and every time I went back to the fruit-based diet, I would lose strength. And when I think of gorillas, I've looked up what they eat. Like, it's a lot of greens. Like, it's 10,000 calories. Like, it ends up being a ton of protein. And Josh X was eating something like 10,000 calories. I watched that episode. It was fantastic. And he was doing the bench press like an NFL record or something. I was like, wow. But look how much he had. He had to drink smoothies in his sleep, basically. He had to wake up to drink a smoothie. So I can do this same thing on like 2,000 calories of starch. I'm farting like a wizard. It's not right, but I don't know. I keep losing muscle whenever I try the fruit-based thing. And I've seen others do it too. I want to believe that, like, I know medical medium. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on medical medium, but he says sugar builds muscle too. I looked okay. I was pretty strong, but a little less strong. I don't know. But it is a stupid goal, admittedly.
Ultimately, it depends on what your goal have, and you want regeneration. When you eat certain foods, you have inflammation in your body, and it can make you look puffier and bigger. And then there's the muscle, and your body will decide exactly when you're eating this vegan. I want to call it something else other than vegan. It's the Garden of Eden diet. It's just a whole new way of thinking. It's not vegan, has a connotation to it that most people just, like in your group here, and they talk about veganism. It's unfortunately been
demonized, weaponized,
tainted.
Just like flat Earth. The Earth is level. It's all about being level. The true level is truth. And so everything is level. Of course, everything is level, but it's flat, and then that's a buzzword, and everybody thinks you're an idiot, and then it's fighting. And vegan has become the same thing. It's a weaponized term.
Right. So when your body gets the proper fuel, it will decide how much muscle your body type needs.
That's right.
I love it. Your body will decide how much muscle it needs, and it's going to be the right amount for you, for what you do in your day, how you live your life. If you're a trampoliner or a long distance runner, or you're sitting in front of your computer all day, your body's going to do exactly what it needs to do to supply you with everything that it needs. So
absolutely. My whole life, going through university playing football, was constantly having the training staff trying to get more meat on me because of all the hits I was taking playing quarterback and keeping the ball, running with the ball a lot too. I was a running quarterback, and so I took a lot of hits, so you have to have more, and it was just trying to push protein, and my body simply would not put the weight on. It wouldn't, and they were just amazed by how my body would just regulate itself and streamline itself. So I've been like this pretty much all of my life. And when you look at the vast majority of frugivores, this is what they are. They're just the greatest athletes in the world. They're the greatest gymnasts in the world, and they are very quick of mind, quick of body, and they're family oriented and community oriented. And they're just peaceful, and they get along with each other. There's very few fights that occur within these families. It's peace of mind, because it's balance, and that's what this is all about. So really to get to the heart of everything, like what Kacey is saying, is like, why do we do this? And, it seems like, people are legitimately trying, and it seems like, I should want to be healthy, so, I should have muscle and what. No, you don't. You don't want muscle. And this is why we have to have balance in our learning, and we have to be balanced as these beings if we're going to get from human beings, which are wearing masks, to mankind. And for us to become mankind, we have to rise. And if you're heavy, you can't rise, because these words are holistic words. They mean light means light in every single aspect of the word. Rise means rise in every single aspect of the word. These words are completely holistic. So if the goal in life is to rise, then we have to be light. To achieve the light, we need to be filled with light. So to be able to receive the light, we have to be light. So if your body is just filled with all of this muscle, you cannot rise. It's that simple. It doesn't mean that you can't be somewhat of a spiritual person inside of you, but you're not going anywhere. You're ankled to your ankles. You're anchored to the earth when you are heavy, and you have to become light. You have to become lighter than air, and you have to rise. You have to float upon the air. So, and why do you think all of these analogies have existed forever, like the genie in a bottle and Aladdin and Aladdin's lamp, and then the magic carpet and magic carpet ride? This is all people in meditation and then achieving levitation in meditation. And you're literally seeing people that are levitating off the ground. Well, you don't see it anymore because since World War II, they've controlled the news completely. I think they have from the beginning of it, but they don't broadcast the truth. They broadcast an entirely different reality, which is called make-believe. And that's what the news is. That's what TV shows are. All of it is just pure make-believe. None of it is the truth. None of it. Just watch the movie Network. None of it. You people are the real thing. God damn it. We are the illusion. But your whole lives are based around the tube. You dress like the tube. You eat like the tube. You think like the tube. You act like the tube. We're all you know. And you got to turn off the tube, because if you don't, you're a boob. And you have to get outside, because with the mother, she is the first creation of the Father, and she's pure truth. So that's all we have to do, become the observer and observe what is in nature. So protein. Do we need protein to build muscle? Yes. Where does protein come from? Well, of course, it just only comes from, eating an animal. No, the animals make all of their protein from eating plants. So soon as you eat an animal to gain protein, that's called the middleman. You're eating a middleman, and there's no need for a middleman. If the animals are getting their protein from plants, then get your protein directly from plants. But this is something that Josh and I teach, and this is it. When you awaken the light inside of you, and you turn the two temples, so you have the temple of the mind, which only the best of the best get to go into the mind, but you have the temple of the mind, and then you have the temple of the body. When they are both active, when they are in unison with one another, and you're producing, your endocrine system is functioning at 100% capacity, and this is the building blocks of everything are melatonin, serotonin, and dopamine. When this is occurring within you, when you have two temples within you, then what you're creating is heaven on earth, and you produce everything that you need, everything. So this myth about, let's say, and this is what keeps so many people from ever putting their children onto this raw diet, or what they call a vegan diet, is that, well, you can't get vitamin B12 if you can only get it from eating animals. Oh my God!
I would suggest that right now you probably can't, because you're always getting your hands vaporized with this white cream that they put all over you everywhere you go.
Which is killing the vitamin B12 that occurs naturally in nature. So vitamin B12 is just a decompositioning agent. So if you want to get vitamin B12, go hug a tree, go touch bark. Bark is just filled with vitamin B12. It's not a vitamin. It's just the decomposing agent that is necessary to balance the light of the world. So that's why you have the moon at night, which is death and decay, and the sun during the day, which is life, so that you have balance. If we didn't have the moon and decay at night, and we only had the sun all the time, then the earth within 5 years would be choked with all of this carbon dioxide being produced by all of these plants and all of these trees. You have to have balance. You have to have balance. When you create the balance within you of the mind and of the body, then your body produces everything. So all the vitamins in the world, they're in here. All of the minerals in the world are in here. You are a pillar of salt. You literally are a pillar of salt. And so where people are lacking and why they fall for these lies, Kacey, like, bodybuilding, and I need to be judged by how good I look or whatever. It's because they lack charisma. If you have charisma, then you have self-worth, self-value, and then people like you because you have charisma. Charisma is Christ, and that is Christ consciousness within you, which is mankind, which is selflessness, which is teaching and learning and helping animals and helping everyone in all moments. It's not even focused upon food or eating. You have so much of our day is just so busy in service to others. Many times we forget to eat or forget to drink anything at all. Well, how does that work? How is that any less real than when you're fretting about your food and whether you do or don't eat for 8 hours in a row? Well, if I don't eat for 8 hours, I'm not going to have enough energy and I can't do. Well, when you're just going and doing, you always have enough energy. You always do. You're just not thinking about it. Where you get yourself into trouble is you stop and think about it. And I haven't eaten, so I feel so weak now because they put that thought into your head. So the whole sort of point of this is to just, why do you exist? Why are you here? Is it to get chicks? Is that why you're here? To get chicks, so you have to be buff, and that'll attract the women to you. That's what this life is all about. Because for the vast majority of men, especially in the Western world, that's exactly what they think. That's exactly what they think. And it's only getting worse. It's not getting better. It's not why you're here. It's not why you're here at all. It's to unify two worlds into one. That's the diamond. Singularity in the beginning with God, falling into the duality of this reality. Everything is a duality, everything. And that's the pyramid, that's the phallic shape of this fall from the Father. And then the only way is to enter into the womb, and that is the V for vagina, and that is this is the completion of the diamond to get back to a single point, a singularity again. And then that is the shape of the diamond. And that's why we are the diamond. And that's why you have to build your house on the most solid rock. And the most solid rock known to man is a diamond. And your diamond is your pineal gland. And that literally becomes the shape of your pineal gland when you use it. When you don't use your pineal gland, it's a vast desert wasteland. And it literally is. It's like these little granules of sand that the wind just kicks around and it not being used. So when you activate your pineal gland, it becomes a diamond. So everything, why are you here? If you don't know who you are or why you're here, then I feel for you. I just have nothing but compassion for you, because you've been lied to and tricked for so long. And then someone comes along like Colleen and I, and we share all of these, vastly different thoughts than what has been purported in the news for 100 years. And it's just hard to take. It's hard to take. It's hard to, well, I like these guys and I like a lot of things that they're saying, but my God, they think the earth is flat. And it's just, it is what it is, and it's steps. And so what Colleen and I teach is, you'll come to us and then you'll fall away from us, but then something will nag you and pull at you to come back to us, and you'll come a little bit further, and then something else will occur. World War II is a lie. What they've taught you about Adolf Hitler in Germany is a lie, and what they've taught you about the Holocaust is a lie. No, I got to get away from this, guys, again. But there's something pulling at you, and you come back again, and it's a process, and we understand this, and we're not going to judge you for coming and going. God loves a trier. Colleen and I love those that try. When you know better, you do better. And it's a process, and you just try, and you will rise and you will fall, and you will rise and you will fall. And when you realize is that every time you rise is when you have Christ within your life, is when you invite God to become the overriding factor in your reality, when you take no thought. Every time you get back to creation, every time you get back to the higher sense of yourself and the purpose to yourself, you're better in your life. Everything gets better for you. And when you fall back into these patterns of thinking, this is when hell invites itself back on earth. There's a very, very famous quantum physicist, before there was quantum physics, but Max Planck, a German-trained scientist, grew up without very little love in his family whatsoever. He was very much a left-brain individual, considered one of the considered to be one of the brightest men, you know, in the world, and he was one of the founding fathers of this theory of quantum physics and whatnot. And by the time the 1930s came around, Max Planck was touring the world speaking to people about the single greatest problem in the world was human thought, and that every time we thought for ourselves, we were getting it wrong, and then we create problems, and then to solve our problems we have to think more, and then we create more problems, and then it gets so bad that people, this is what Max Planck talked about, things get so bad in your life that you become basically incapacitated to do anything. And it's in those moments of silence where you're literally frozen. And it's composed most silence that everything begins to heal. The moment you let go, that overriding factor, that sinew that is within the earth and within us, that guides everything and holds everything together, which is the laminin within us, which are these crosses. All of this is creation. All of this is part of creation, all part of God, and it's there to heal you. It's there to help you. So everything that you need in your body, or everything you need for health, is already in your body. Everything. All you have to do is balance and harmonize your body. So Jesus Christ was the alkaline man, and that is of body and of mind. He took no toxic thoughts, and he took no toxic foods. In fact, where does it ever show Jesus eating in the Bible? The food that Jesus ate of in the Bible constantly was meditation, and that's breathing, which is the ether, which holds everything, including the Akashic records. So the first thing, Kacey, to everything is, who am I and why am I here? And if people are not prepared to ask themselves that question and get a serious answer to that question, then I see why people get trapped in the muscle and chicks. And the goal is to get married, and it's to get married to the hottest girlfriend or girl that I can possibly convince to marry me. And then my life is a success. I'll probably get a decent job. People will like me because I got a good-looking wife, and we'll probably have good-looking kids, and that's what it's all about. And that has nothing to do with anything.
Thanks for that, Charlie. Yeah, and that's the foundation that we start with, is that sort of we try and define everything in this out there reality, when in reality what we're supposed to do is to start with what am I here to do? Who am I, and how do I start with that? And then the food aspect just becomes an obvious point. And there is a lot of obfuscation out there, but that quest of finding, what is it that I should be consuming? What is, how do I fuel this body in the best way possible? And that's what, Kacey, you've taken upon yourself to go on that quest and figure it out, because you are in that self-discovery mode. But many of us don't even ask that question. We don't even ask that question. Am I consuming the right things, or am I just consuming what I've been told by whoever, by these experts out there, and being led along that way? So yeah, we got to start with that point. So yeah, what's your next question? What do you got here? You're muted, by the way.
Part of me knew that. So now that I know that I can just go lick a tree in the moonlight for my B12, I will be doing that. Okay, one thing yeah, the question about who are we, that's I've struggled with that one because I'm here like I think I'm here to help people heal sometimes, and then sometimes that doesn't feel like my passion. Like somebody will ask me a question, I'm like, I don't know, man, leave me alone. Like I'm not this super compassionate healer. Some of these people, like Dr. Morris, he's just like dedicates his life to healing people. I'm wondering why I don't have that same type. I think it's just because of my confusion and doubt about the protocol. So like I don't really know the answers to give them, but it's a journey on that one. One thing I have a question. This is where a lot of the raw vegans have problem is the teeth. We got to get to the bottom of the teeth issue because when I did a 4-day grape fast once because Dr. Morse was like, that's the most powerful fruit. And if I learn something's the most powerful, it's the best way, I'm going all the way. Like I plan on doing a 90-day juice fast. I think that will heal me. When I found John Rose for the first time, I was like, oh, what a genius. Like, thank you so much. I love that man. He just searches parks for people to help. Like he's dedicated his life. He's just like, who can I help? Oh, you look like, okay, you into this? And I love that so much about him. So I did 4 days on grapes. By the end of the fourth day, my teeth were so sensitive. I was like, I have to stop. Like, there's no way I could continue. Why the heck is that happening? Like, I don't think it's the sugar because I'm on this high carb diet right now. Teeth are better, but I've always noticed when I bring in the greens, tons of greens and minerals, like they seem to get better. Maybe both of you can chime in on that.
Yeah, so fruits in general, they are the fastest way for us to detox. And when we experience all of these symptoms like teeth pain, because teeth are connected to all the organs in our body. It's connected to our entire system. So when we're going through this fruit process and getting all these detox symptoms to come up, it is quite uncomfortable, and it can manifest in a wide variety of different ways. So that often scares people from continuing on because they think, oh, something's wrong with this diet, something's wrong here. But it's really just the layers of gunk and filth that are coming to the surface. And so what greens will do is they actually kind of slow down that detox process and and so it gives that illusion that, it's not that necessarily greens are a bad thing, but it gives that illusion that this is a better way to go. So it's really one of those things with fruit in general is when you have this understanding that I am going to experience some sort of uncomfortable symptoms for a period of time. And I've heard people I'm still working on getting my kidneys to filter. I haven't gotten quite to that point yet, and I've been all raw since November, and I've been doing lots of juice feasts as well. And so I've really been trying to get those stimulated. But when you look at the amount of years that we've just accumulated these toxins, and it's not just by what we're consuming, it's by the shit that they spray in the air, it's by the water that we're drinking, it's by all the foods that we're consuming. I mean, I was eating animals prior to that too, and it just adds these layers into us that take a really long time, and it varies from person to person as to how these are going to manifest. But what you're describing with your teeth is a very common example of something that does happen, and it can take weeks for that to go away initially. But that's why a lot of people recommend, like John Rose and Dr. Morse recommend the juice feasting, because instead of drawing out, if you just jump straight to raw or just jump straight to fruit, if you're still eating solid material, it can actually take a lot longer for those detox symptoms to manifest and play out. But if you go to juice, you're accelerating that process. So you're still going to feel those uncomfortable symptoms for X amount of days. 2 weeks is usually a safe bet that if you can make it past 2 weeks on a juice feast, you're usually going to be past the main culprits of those detox symptoms. And then after that point, it's really getting deep within the system and getting stuff out that way. So that would be my kind of take on what you were experiencing with your teeth and those kind of moments.
Can I ask you, Casey, did you try oil pulling at all with any kind of oil when you were doing
I've tried it in the
with your
past.
teeth?
I never noticed much of a benefit. My girlfriend does it and she says she noticed it. So I should try it. It's so annoying to do. I find it's just like, oh God, this is stupid. And I fast. I'm like, am I absorbing a small amount of calories right now? I'm fasting.
Okay.
But
I also tried a little bit of hydrogen peroxide in some water and just swishing it around in my mouth also. But activated charcoal can also help draw out toxins. Um, yeah,
So this is
sodium
my,
bicarbonate.
it's all broken apart in pieces because I've used it for about 8 years, whatever it's been. And so, but this is the magic little container, and what this contains inside is nothing but pure sodium bicarbonate. Greatest thing to help you while you are transitioning. So if you have a transitional diet, so right now Kacey's doing a high starch diet right now, so a lot of pulp. So then the body has to work harder, and so versus melatonin, so the body has to just work harder to get rid of what it doesn't need. It doesn't need the pulp. Sorry, it doesn't. There are some benefits to it, but you're getting that from the pure fruit juice. So the pulp, in comparison to pure fruit juice, is a complete waste of time, and it's taking your time. Can you put the camera back on? So this is it, and all this is sodium bicarbonate. And if you're concerned about the necessity to detox further, you can add a little activated charcoal in there as well, and just mix it together. But this is all I did for so many years. I don't need to do it anymore, but this is what I did for so many years. Is this? So just watch and you'll see. That's it. Because the first line of defense for you is your system of pores, or your nose, your entrance there, or of course your mouth. So it's your mouth, your tongue, your teeth. Is very, very, very important. So this is where this knowledge and wisdom and knowing thyself is so important. Why do people fail in life consistently? Well, the society tells us because we failed to plan. No, it's because you don't know shit about the truth. That's the truth. You have to know the truth. Once you know the truth, you can start to improve your reality. If you're taught only lies and you only know lies, you're going nowhere. It's a circle, which is your left brain, which is a circuit. And around and around and around you go, the samsara, the wheel of life. And you go around and around until you get it right. So you have to have truth in your reality. And this is the significance of the letter O. And to make the eternal eight, it's two O's. There's a lower O, which is your body, and a higher O, which is your mind. And they have to become in unison, and X marks the spot, right? So how do you turn two static O's into a functioning eight? They unite through the X. X marks the spot.
Through the crucifixion.
The crucifixion. And so this is the Christ within you. This is Christ consciousness raising. This is light raising within you, which then brings life to you. It animates you.
So it's that Kundalini energy that's rising, bringing it up. And that's why we talk about Kundalini energy.
Magnetism versus electricity. Electricity, Nikola Tesla. Boy.
So what does acid do to your body? It brings your energy down, right? You can't raise your Kundalini energy. You can't get up into this perfect X. You can't crossify. That's why you have to have an alkaline system.
Yeah, as Nikola Tesla said that these theorists of Einstein's two theories of general relativity and special relativity, the relativative theorists, what they were getting wrong is that the natural down causation of electricity, which are transverse waves that bring you down, man, I'm always feeling down, man, is because we just live entirely out of our left brain, and that is electrical, and those are these transverse waves. So when transverse means temporary, transverse are temporal waves. So you live and you die. That's the reality when you live out of your left brain. You're temporary. You live and you die. You can see it as an ocean wave, and you oscillate, 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 oscillate until you hit bottom, and then you thrust yourself violently forward in glory or not for 60, 70 years, and then you die. and then you wash back in the sand and the foam, and you go back into the mother until such time that the father breathes the air, which is the wind, upon the mother, and then these waves start to form again, and your life begins to take shape again. And there you go as the oscillating wave until you come to the shoreline, and boom, for 60 or 70 years, you thrust yourself forward for 60, 70 years, and then you wash back into the sand and the foam, and it repeats itself again and again. This is the best example of the samsara, the wheel, the great wheel of life. You go around and around and around in. And that's pure electricity. That is a transverse wave, which is an oscillating ocean wave.
And if
which
that's
is
all you want to
temporal.
be, then that's great. Then you just continue the way you're doing it. But if you want to experiment and try something new,
And want more. If you want more out of your life, then you have to cast thy net to the right. And that's the right hemisphere of your brain. The left brain is only 10% of the brain's capacity. The right hemisphere of the brain is that 90%. This is that tithing that we hear about in churches where they want 10% of your money. In the Bible, starting with Melchizedek in the Old Testament, and then through John the Baptist, everybody in the New Testament, the tithing is that to cross the river from left to right, you have to pay a fee. You have to pay the dime. 10%, dime. And that 10% tithing is you give your left brain of thought over to God, and you say, I'm taking the load off of me and I'm putting it onto you, Father. And the Father says, that's what I'm here for. That's what this is all about. Now just come home, you prodigal son. Stop your wandering lost in the wilderness and just come home. Let me do the heavy lifting for you. And that's
so
what
you're
you
giving
see.
up the electrical and you're going to the magnetism now.
That's right.
That's when the new light can shine through.
So this is a significance because of the letter O and the two O's becoming the 8, because that's a scalar wave, and magnetism is scalar waves, and scalar waves are eternally rising in this perpetual 8. No beginning, no end. It's just constant fluidity of motion, and there's no death. With a magnetic field, or just a magnet, there's no beginning and there's no end. It's always been on. Magnets have always been on. And if you go back to two magnets and you stick them together and they're connected and you can't pull them apart, if you went back 100 million years in the future to those two magnets, they're still connected, because that's what they do. That's all they do. So the beauty of magnetism and an energetical supply system of magnetism is that once your magnetic generator turns on, it never has to be turned off. It never needs maintenance. And you can never overload a circuit. There's no circuits, because magnetism is a field. Electricity is a circuit, and you can blow a fuse. You can overload the system. When you live in your left brain, that's what we see with people all the time. Cuckoo, cuckoo.
And that's why the Cabal was keen on just promoting that entire system
Yes.
of downward causation electricity, beta waves,
Yeah.
keep you in that certain frequency
Yeah.
so that we don't rise.
Yeah.
The minute we rise, they've lost us.
So the key then is the letter O. So the letter O is the Ouroboros. That's what the O stands for, is the Ouroboros. What do you see when you look at the Ouroboros? Well, I remember, Charlie, I think it's that serpent, and then it's sort of eating itself. It sort of goes around, and what you put in is what you get out. What you put in is what you get out. My life is shit. How would you describe your life? My life's shit. I'm totally fucked. Like, it's just don't even ask me. I'm just totally fucked over. My life stinks. It just stinks. This whole world stinks. You notice how they always use the stink and the sexual reproductive words. So it's always fuck and shit and stink and things like that, because you're in your lower root chakra. You're in the Muladhara. You're at the base of the base. You're in the bottom, which are the bowels.
And that's where those density foods that we've been eating that keep you acidic keep you in the
Keep you
lower
trapped
densities.
in the shitter. And that's why these people who eat meat all the time are always on the shitter. I've never understood this in my life.
Our talk
that-
right now is driving them crazy. Their egos are going crazy, and they just want to shut us up because we're giving them something new, and they can't handle it because they're in the lower vibration. And then they're just going to say, "Well, we just think we're holier than thou." But
Yeah. But I've never understood all those people that they have like libraries of books in the toilet. it's for me, it's like I don't even like the process, because it's stopping my flow of doing something brilliant in every moment. It's just from a kid till now, I've just always been a doer and a go-getter, and go 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 go. And so who has time to sit down and take, a long, but that's what's happening with people who eat meat. They're all congested inside. Everything is blocked. So when they have passing fecal matter, it takes a long time. So they're reading books in the bathroom. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And when you're out and about in nature, you can, if you're a frugivore, and you have to go and you have to pass fecal matter in nature, because you're eating seeds, and because your poop is a fertilizer. Wherever you drop your fecal matter as a frugivore in nature, you're planting a tree. You're planting another tree. Another tree will absolutely grow precisely where. And then that's how this life continues. You see, that's what you do. There's no necessity to slow down or stop. You just keep going and going and going and going in your day. And everywhere you stop and just passes with fecal matter, another tree. Another tree grows. So it's the most miraculous process. So the Ouroboros, what you put in is what you get out. So if you put shit in, your life stinks. When you put a fucking mess up into yourself, you're fucked. And that's how it works. So that's why people say these descriptors about themselves, because they're trapped in their root. So you are the Ouroboros. And the only way for the two Ouroboroses to unite, below and above, the body and the mind to unite, is the crucifixion. And that's what we must do. We must cast our nets to the right, and we must cross over by inviting Christ consciousness, charisma, to rise up within us, which is light. And you have to be light. So light is as opposed to darkness, yes, but light is as opposed to heavy. Yes. And so the whole point is to be light, because then you rise up to your mind. When you eat heavy foods, cheese and dairy and eggs and meat, they're anchors, and they're anchoring you to your Muladhara root chakra, and your life stinks. And that's the truth.
Yep. I agree. When I was on meat-based, the carnivores will say, when you eat meat, you absorb like 100% of it. That's why you don't poo very often. It's all in there. And I can confirm that's not the case. I've done, like, I'm not going for like 4 days. I'm like, let's do an enema. Let's see what comes out. A lot came out. A lot of meat came out, and no animals grew from that like they would a fruit tree. There was no animals coming out. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm here. I had it so good. I had it right. I moved to Thailand for the tropics, and now I'm back here having to eat the supermarket fruit in the Canadian tundra. It was $8 for a pint of strawberries. I was like, what the hell? That's why people are so unhealthy. They can't afford fruit. Like, it's so over exaggerated price. Like, meat is cheap, starch is cheap on my bean-based diet right now. Pretty cheap, but I'm creating a lot of gas right now. Let's just be real with ourselves. I feel close to the creator because of the amount of gas I can create myself. And it's just, it's not right. It doesn't feel like the path, but it's a good transition. If you're trying to come off of meat, I tried to go slow here. I didn't want to add too much fiber, and like, you have no bacteria. If you're on a carnivore diet, like, you have just decaying bacteria, the type that eat rotting flesh. And so, like, you think you're going to add a bunch of fruits and veggies and salads, and yeah, let's go for it. You're not going to digest a bit of that. So I've just been going very slow with white rice, and like, it's been pretty easy to do. Like, it was actually more delicious and satisfying. But now I'm here. I wonder, supermarket fruit, because I've heard you say, if you're not picking the fruit yourself, like, you're not eating fruit. And is that a problem? Like, most people all we have is supermarket fruit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough to kind of go at it from because we do have to go kind of work with the best with what we have available. But we're always going to be drawn to that perfection, which is growing the fruit and picking it ourselves. Like that truly is the optimal. But we do also need to be cognizant and aware of hey Amber, thanks for joining us.
Hey, pleasure. It's great to be here. My apologies for being late.
No worries, brother. Yeah, so just to add on to that, Todd, Kacey just asked about fruit from supermarkets, whether that should be, you know, what we should be doing with that, if that's all we have available, how do we go about that? So I was just saying, you know, we do have to be gentle with ourselves in this process because it is a journey. Ultimately, the best source is growing things from the ground and picking it ourselves. But when we're not in those scenarios, we've got to work with what we've got. So it's really just working with the best that you have available, and then coming to that understanding that when you do start to purify, when you do start to realize that, wow, the supermarket really has a very shitty selection, there's nothing in it and it's really expensive, and so what's the next best step? Well, I should probably start growing it myself, or I should probably start moving somewhere warmer where I can grow it more easily. And it's just that kind of like step-by-step process to moving back to that holistic lifestyle that we'll eventually get on. But you know, don't beat yourself up too much if that's all you have to work with and that's all that's available, because we got to start somewhere. We got to, you know, we can't immediately jump to the finish line. We've got to work with what we've got and get moved through that process.
And that's brilliant, Justin. And Kacey, just a couple of quick things here. One, again, we're looking at the sodium bicarbonate here as well. Sodium bicarbonate just pulls these toxins. You know, so does activated charcoal. Just pulls the toxins off of anything and out of anything. So when you get your supermarket food, just take one of your sinks, fill it with water, get a big bucket or just a tub, fill it with water, and then just a healthy amount of sodium bicarbonate. It's not expensive. Just mix it in, and just throw, as soon as you get home, and you're not going to use it for a few hours or whatever, just throw it in there. Just throw it in there and just let it roll around and spin around and do everything it wants to do. And just let the miracle of sodium bicarbonate do its trick. And that's all it does, just pulling toxins out of this world, pulling toxins. So again, like I said to everyone, for the first few years, I just carried this actual same little container around with me everywhere. And when I just needed to regulate myself back into balance and harmony, perfect balance within the body, just quickly put my tongue into the sodium bicarbonate directly. And then at the source, it's healing, it's putting everything back into balance. So this is a great trick. The other thing, of course, is we're talking about this holistic approach to life. We have to get out of our uncles and just everything is this physical ride in this journey. We're all wizards. We're all magical beings. We're all druids. And so you possess the greatest of powers, and it works through what is known as intention. So if your intentions are pure, you create purity in and around you. And if your intentions have been corrupted and have fallen and are sinful, lustful, greedful, violent, whatever those are, then carnal expressions, then you will pull carnality into your reality. It's simple as that. So one of the best things that you can do with your supermarket fruit and veggies when you bring them home is bless them. Just bless them. Just say, thank you, I love you so much, and whatever is on you or within you that is unhallowed, please, detoxify, remove. I just want the essence, and just bless the food that you are whole and you are pure. You are the life source, and I love you, and just bless your food, and you have the powers. But people don't believe this. People absolutely don't believe this.
And Remembrancer can speak to that too.
Yeah.
I've been doing that. Hey, Remembrancer. How's it going?
Kacey, it is such a pleasure to be with you, brother. I've been watching your stuff for years, and it's really a surreal honor to be communing with you like this. This is really, really beautiful.
The honor's mine, man. I was telling Charlie before the show that your smile just lights up the universe, man. As soon as I saw it, I was like, look at that guy. That is happiness right there. You warm our hearts.
Oh, thank you, brother. Oh, that's such an honor, man. Your comedy is so awesome, and I love your music, man. Your music is really incredible. I don't think a lot of people talk about that enough, but I just, so much of your stuff gets stuck in my head. Like I really like that one line of you're all you ever had to be. Take control of your life and don't get mad at me. It's just such good rhythm and soulfulness, and yeah, man. I've followed your journey through Thailand, through the carnivore journey, watching you all along the way, and just seeing you question, and it's been really amazing to see you come full circle in this way with this group. And yeah, I'm also really on this tip of imbuing our food with a cymatic coherence that then makes our own structure that much more whole. Because if I'm sure everyone here, and maybe a lot of people who are listening, have seen the work of Dr. Matsuro Emoto, where the water molecules respond not just to words but to writing. So all of these, all of the symbols, everything on the food has a cymatic reverberation effect on what we're eating and how we commune that into our body. And I definitely, my favorite thing to do is pronounce the tetragrammaton, which is the word for God in Greek, which we talked about a little bit in the last video with Charlie. Is Yahweh is the Proto-Hebrew pronunciation of that. And it's really made a huge difference in my life. I also want to say that a huge transition for me was picking up on the wholesale produce terminals. So if you're in a major city, most cities have a wholesale produce terminal, and that's a really great way of just going direct, buying in bulk, and especially getting things like, I could go to LA and get coconuts like for really cheap there. So if the grocery stores aren't doing it for you, and you can't go farmer direct, which is always best, check out the wholesale produce terminal. And yeah, definitely always imbue your food with the cymatic intention you want to cohere to.
Yeah, it's because of you all that I'm back on veganism, and I just want to thank you all so much, Charlie and Colleen, Remembrancer, Justin too. Like, just watching you guys, like, I always knew it was the truth, but I got off path, and like my entire journey, as Charlie's explaining it, like it's all left brain every single time. It's always trying to figure it out intellectually. It's like, okay, this could work, starch-based, OMAD, 1 meal a day, not too much protein. Like I'm always analyzing it instead of just feeling feels right. So I think that's where I've been confused, because I get led down a path, and I just assume people are teaching what they think is the truth, but a lot of people are lying out there, and it's just like, why? There's so much lies and confusion. And yeah, I'm just happy to be back, on my way back, at least starch-based. It's a nice little landing ground, vegan, starch-based. It's interesting. It's probably not the end goal, but it's good for now.
Yeah, I personally think that the whole oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, I think this whole lingering flirtation with carnism comes from the deluge that made it temporarily, according to the law, to survive, to consume that flesh in the time of mass confusion. And that this is actually what is playing into the class system of warriors, priests. The Hindu has four class systems. The laborers, is that it depends on the density of the prana that you're eating will either make you a warrior, a priest, or a laborer. And that was actually, it did serve a purpose in the time of recovering back up to this point where now we don't necessarily have to do that. And as we get into the resonance that being nonviolent ourselves is our protection from violence, I think it's going to really change the way the warrior has been caricaturized as being so much bravado and muscle, and it's going to be more of the mastery of the mind. But I think this is just really symptomatic of the transition of the ages, both, because we're technically between the Iron and Bronze Age, and between Pisces and Aquarius. So I think it has served a purpose, but we are at this threshold where we can lead with our sense of value and how that is going to return us to the timeless design of the omniverse.
So just take a look. This is one of the words that Kacey was using. Sort of, we're gifted this intuition, and you need to know your words. You need to know the root of, and that's who you are. So once again, know thyself. The greatest gift you can give you is knowing thyself, because that's the truth. And so we fall constantly because we don't know the truth. So then they trick us into the left brain, which is a downward causation. So we're constantly falling and skinning our knees, and it's the mother who raises us back up and says, son, try it again. Son, try it again. And the mother is magnetism. Mary, mare, the sea is magnetism, which is the scalar wave, which is to rise. So it's all about this intuition, because in is going within. To wit is the fruit of your labors, which is the knowledge or the wisdom. And the ionic world within you are your cells, which just need to regenerate. And so then you get into these words here, and this is everything. This is everything. The Old Testament focuses on, this is the Red Bull, and the Old Testament focuses on the left brain and the left brain world and all of these tyrants and evil people that are in it. And so the Old Testament of the Bible is a DE reality, and that's the reality we live in our world. All they do is teach us death. They're really good at teaching and explaining death. So our reality is a world that starts with words that start with DE, which DE is to take away. So that's to take away. So they teach us this word called delight. Oh, I just delight in this world, and I'm so delighted. And it's such a delight to meet you.
Why would we use that?
Why would you use that word? DE is to take away. Why would you want to take away the light? So I'm delighted to meet you because you take my light away? Well, that's what you would say to the Cabal.
Relight.
But so the truth is in the words, and this is what the New Testament is, which is the blue bull, or the higher bull, which is the mind instead of the body. This is the higher book of the Bible, the two books of the Bible, and this is re. Everything about Jesus Christ is the RE word, and all the words that come to us through the New Testament are RE. What is RE? Born again. And this is where the born again Christian movement has been hijacked by the Cabal, and they take it away into this ridiculous, if you rebaptize and then you pay us your 10% and you sign this card for the rest of your life and whatever else, you're all good to go. No. Re is to redo and redo and redo and redo. And
which is the work. This is the work we're talking
Kacey.
about. RE versus DE.
That's right. RE versus DE. This is the reality that we've been living in, and everyone is dying at the age of 60. Tom Petty dies from whatever.
Or did he?
He didn't. So Tom Petty dies from whatever, just 13 days from his 66th birthday, and nobody bats an eye. So he's a bajillionaire living in Malibu, high above the cliffs of the Pacific Ocean, and he died. He was 65. I mean, that's what people do at 65. They just die. What the fuck? Who thought that was the truth? 65 is old? Wow. So nobody bats an eye at it, or you can do the work. And this is what the work is, to regenerate life. Jesus' resurrection is this rebirth of the Christ within you. And this rebirth of the Christ within you is this alkalinity, and alchemy is alkalinity, because to practice alchemy, you first have to become alkaline. They're essentially the exact same word. And alchemy and alkaline is the RE. So this is just bringing life back to you. Reluge, relight, regrade, not degradate. Don't fall further and further and further with your moral values. Regrade. Regrade the roads, repave the roads, repave you. You don't put new wine into an old wineskin, because it turns the new wine tepid again. So you have to rebuild your temple. That's this whole point of the vineyard. Your essence inside of you is the vineyard, and it has to be a good fruit, and you have to have a bountiful year. And then when you harvest the good fruits within you, which is the essence of you within you, has to be in a good wineskin. Because if the wineskin is full of cracks and holes and is infected and diseased or whatever, then it putrefies this beautiful wine. So you can have somebody come along with great truth, or somebody can give you this incredible elixir, but if your body and mind are not ready for it, it'll just spoil the elixir. You have to do the work to get you ready for it, which is the miracle. And the thing about all of this, what I want to share, Kacey, is this. The ultimate miracle of all is that this may sound really confusing or really religious to some people, but the purpose to all of this is to embrace Christ, Jesus Christ, within yourself, because Christ consciousness is pure alkalinity, and then this is the child that must rise with the mother to return home to the father. So it's the prodigal son. It's doing it wrong, and then we have to do it right. And that's what Jesus is showing you in the Bible, is that everything he's doing is right because he sticks to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help us God. It's only the truth, and that frustrates a lot of people with Jesus because he's annoyingly truthful. People like the passive Jesus, where you can get away with the white lies. I can just bend the truth a little bit here. It's so much more convenient. Can't you just be that Jesus? That's not the Jesus in the Bible. It was the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Has to be the truth. And so this is what we must become inside of us, is this rising chrism, this charisma, which is this Christ consciousness, and that's light, Kacey. So, and again, light is a holistic word. So to be filled with light so you can levitate to God in heaven, then you must be lighter than air. So you can't be eating bread. You can't be eating these heavy foods. You have to be eating. And so for all your listeners and friends and followers and people that are, thinking one way or the other, let me put this to you. When you consume solely fruit juice, okay, and this cannot be supermarket purchased because the Louis Pasteur came along and ruined it all. So Pasteur is not a great scientist. He's part of the cabal and a demon. Pasteurizing milk or orange juice, which is all you get in supermarkets, means that they boil it to a certain point and it kills all life. There's no more point to drinking that orange juice. There's no life in it. There's no value. There's very little value in that orange juice because they pasteurize it. Well, they have to because it's filled with germs. Oh my God, no, you're filled with germs because you eat meat, dairy, and eggs. You're filled with crap because of what you eat. And like Remembrancer teaches, those things have to be inside of you to eat the dead, rotting flesh that you're putting inside of you. So you're inviting the very things that you don't want inside of you and you're totally afraid of because of that carnal diet. When you eat solely fruit, those things can't exist in that environment. So what Colleen and I teach is that if you can do it, just go for it. Don't, the symptoms like you were talking to Justin about in the teeth, your teeth are just connected to all of your electrical grid lines within you. You've got 12 electrical grid systems, and these are just these elongated electrical, they all run through your teeth, and particularly your molars. That's why they're drilling into your molars. You got a cavity in your molars, and we got to drill into your molars. They teach dentists to focus on the molars because your entire electrical system is running through the molars in your teeth. And when you subjugate the molars, you're breaking down this electrical circuit, which is the fluidity of you. It's the transference of knowledge like this within you, or the ability to just reach down and tie up your shoelaces without falling over. If you're losing your balance, it's often tied to your teeth, all the problems with the teeth. And again, our teeth are meant to last for 1,000 years because they're alkaline structures, they're temples, they're perfect. But if you put battery acid on them and leave it there all night long, it's going to wear away. God didn't create defenses for your teeth to prevent against acid, because why would we ever ingest acid when we're alkaline? But that's what they do. They lie to us and trick us into the fact that you have to be big and strong, you have to have meat, dairy, and eggs. And what those things are purely acidic. So you're drinking and eating and ingesting battery acid, and they are decomposing your teeth, and your teeth are rotting away because of the acidity in your mouth. You are an alkaline being, and you have to become alkaline. So the teeth are an absolutely huge process to this. So it's all about becoming lighter than air, and then the food matters less and less. Now, when you drink purely fruit juice, this is the gift, this is the miracle. The basis to fruit juice, or just fruit, is fructose. And that is the sugar. So like Kacey was saying at the beginning of the show, there's, this one person says we should be eating sugar and sugar is the way to life. And somebody else says, no, it's all bad. Yeah, sugar is everything. It's everything. It's all your body needs, but the right sugar. And that is what comes from fruit. And that's why we are frugivores. That's why our entire body is structured the way it is, inside and out, is to help us to be able to be lithe and athletic and climb and reach and grab the mango and the apple and the pear or whatever, and then we eat those fruits. Now that is fructose, and the fructose goes directly into your bloodstream, and then the bloodstream simply utilizes it instantaneously. Now, if there's more than you have need for, where does the bloodstream store the excess fruit juice that you ingest? It stores it directly in your muscle tissue. It's the perfect system. There's no middleman. There's no middle process. There's no delay. It's just this magical process that this glucose or fructose is stored as glycogens into the muscle tissue. And so then when you get up and do something again and you need all of that energy, that fruit juice is now directly in your muscle tissue with nothing standing in the way. And when you need that energy, it's instantaneously there, the purest form. Now here's, and this gets even better. Your bodily system doesn't have to expend energy or time cleaning your body, because that's all it wants. All those require is glucose or fructose from these natural fruits. That's all it requires. That's its food source. So when your entire bodily system is being given exactly what it needs, it now spends the time creating the whole other world for you. And the whole other world is eternity. And that's what your endocrine system is for, to gift you eternity. The endocrine system is a magnetic-based system, which is eternal. Magnetism is eternal. And so the organs in our bodies are pure magic, and they're regulated by these sacred secretions. And the source to all of our endocrine system starts right here in the third ventricle of the brain. And the number one source within us, up and to the right, is the pineal gland, pituitary gland, and then the hypothalamus. Here, and here. That's the Holy Trinity. And this is melatonin. This is melatonin here in the pineal gland. And then this is serotonin, which is the pituitary gland. And then this is dopamine, which is the hypothalamus. And these are the three wise men that came out of the East bearing gifts to the baby Jesus when he was born. Melatonin, serotonin, and dopamine. Mela, if you go back all the way to the root, an Indo-European or right back to Sanskrit, every variation, mela is honey. This is the sweet honey. So this is the honey of the milk and the honey. Serotonin comes from the pituitary gland. It is the milk. This is the milk from the mother Sarah. Abraham and Sarah was gifted a miracle birth, and her child was Itzhak, which is Isaac, when in Hebrew it's Itzhak, which means happiness. And what is the serotonin secretion known as within your brain? It's the happiness secretion. Yeah, because Sarah gave birth to Isaac, which is Itzhak, which is happiness. So serotonin comes from the pituitary gland, the mother, the milk, and that is happiness. And then dopamine through the hypothalamus, which is the child, is what is the feel good. And so everything is regulated through these three, and then it all comes down upon us. It all comes down upon us into the thymus and the thyroid and the adrenals, and it goes all through your endocrine system, and your organs are kept in perfection, in eternal bliss. This is the work. So doing this work and this food is so important, because when you just ingest fruit, your body does not have to work to sustain itself or to clean itself or to detoxify itself. And it means that it can give all of its time to Santa Claus. Santa Claus is the sainted claustrum, which is the cloister back at the back crown, right next to the mercy seat of God within your head. And Santa Claus is this one who brings presents for the good children. And the good children are the one who remain alkaline, and they can receive the gifts, and the presents are not ENTS, it is ENCE. It's presents. Santa Claus gives presents to all the good children, and those presents, melatonin, serotonin, and dopamine. And that comes the moment you stop toxifying yourself. When you stop polluting your body, and your body has to work nonstop to detoxify itself, then your body gets to work. It lets Santa Claus loose, and Santa works 24/7, 365. He never takes a day off, never stops working, and he's just producing these sacred secretions within you, and they are the RE. They are giving you eternal life. That's your endocrine system. Read any of these books that came out, Kacey, in the late 80s and the 90s about melatonin, and they were all saying that tapping into what the ancients taught, that if you had copious amounts of melatonin, you could halt the aging process. And then there were some that were saying you can live forever with copious amounts of melatonin.
Not synthetic.
Not synthetic. You have to make it within you. And you do that by becoming alkaline. This is the benefit of fruit juice. This is why solely the fruit, and then eventually solely the breath. That's where it's all leading us to. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, it's all about finding this regeneration cycle and really establishing the baseline so that we can get there. And I think a lot of where the complications set in, and a lot of where Kacey's gone in his journey, is dealing with these detox symptoms that we have to deal with first and foremost before we actually get to that state of alkalinity and that state of regeneration. So I'd really like to transition here, and especially since we have Remembrancer on the call, is and Kacey, if you're all right with this, but we can start taking a look at the transitional aspect of shifting diet toward this place, and let's get a little bit more practical. And what can we do? How can we shift? And so, I don't know, Kacey, if you want to kind of go into what you're doing now within your stage in this transition, and then Amber, we can pass it along to you to give any tips on how to kind of roll that along.
Sounds good. Yeah, so basically I was coming from a high fat meat based diet, and I'm switching back to veganism, and it's like I said earlier, I'm doing it low fiber right now, trying to introduce it slowly. And I find every time, like, I've been back and forth, high carb, high fat, switching. Whenever I go right into the fruits, my body starts freaking out, and I'm getting just explosive acne, and it's almost unbearable sometimes. But man, I believe it. I want that fruit power. I want to go on a juice fast. Are you doing mainly just fruits right now, Justin, or are you adding in the green juices and stuff?
So I have been doing a few green juices recently, just because I'm using some herbs and extra things to try and get my kidneys to flush a little better. Because there are definitely some aspects to herbs that can help stimulate some properties in our body. But the thing that helps me kind of wrap around it is, we have to kind of learn all of these complicated measures in order to get to that detox state. But once we're in that detox state, then it's really, really simple. Then it is just fruit, and it can just be fruit. But until we get to that point, until I'm completely flushed out of everything else, there might be some tweaks and stuff that we kind of have to intuitively learn along the way. So I'm experimenting with myself to try and get my kidneys to flush a little better, and to just help things move along. But yeah, I'm mostly fruit. I've been I'd say 90% fruit since December.
Yeah, for the kidneys, I can't recommend this just because I've heard some people like dying, but I've done a bunch of dry fasting, and whenever I did that, kidneys just flush and there was sediment like crazy. It's hard though. I don't know how natural it is. It's one of those fasts that's just like, this doesn't feel right. It's
Yeah,
probably not.
dry fasting can be difficult. I mean, an easy way to sort of incorporate a daily dry fast is just to prolong your sleeping dry fast. Make it where it's like 12 to 14 to maybe 16 hours of dry fasting before you actually start consuming liquids and foods again. And this can give your kidneys a sort of daily squeeze, which I've heard. I haven't had a ton of success with so far. I did do a 36, well, it was about a 40-hour dry fast, and it does present some challenges usually after the first 24 hours isn't too bad, but then after that point it does get pretty difficult. But then that goes back into this sort of holistic way of looking at what we're intaking, and it's not just isolated to water and food, it's also the breath that we're taking. And this is another level to it. But when we can really tap into the breathing that I'm doing and how am I absorbing this prana, this energy of the earth around me, of that God is providing, then you can start to realize that, yeah, we spend a lot of time just eating and drinking, and maybe we don't need to do it as much. Maybe we can gain a lot more energy from this sort of perpetual 0 point energy that's really going on all around us. And this is what Nikola Tesla was tapping into when he was tapping into this 0 point energy, because we are all surrounded by the energy of the universe. And you can call that God, you can call that spirit, you can call that source, or you can call that magnetism. It's all the same. It's all the same, just central force that drives literally everything. But breath is just a way to sort of integrate that aspect to it and really start communing with it.
Mhm. Speaking of Tesla, purple Tesla plate there. I don't know if that's a scam or what, but I feel like it's doing something. Maybe I
Yeah.
don't know.
Just to quickly interject before we go to Remembrancer, because he'll be able to explain this beautifully. But just really quickly, everyone, remember the whole goal of this is to become fully illuminated, which is 360 degrees, not 1 degree. And remember, there are 12 apostles, there are 12 cranial nerves, there are 12 sympathetic nervous systems around the solar plexus. It's always 12, 12, 12. 12 is completion with regard to the ancients within the Bible. And that's because there are 30 degrees of separation. There are 30 degrees within each of the 12s. 12 times 30 is 360. So 12 hours, this is a key number for us. So if you can start to be conscious of this with your eating habits at nighttime, stop at a certain point, and where you stop at that point, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, you don't start eating until at least the 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock hour the next day. That gives you the 12 hours. Miracles happen in threes. 1 plus 2 is 3. 12. 12 is 1 plus 2 is 3. And miracles happen. And so remember, there are 6 in-body chakras, from the Muladhara root and the base to the Ajna, the third eye chakra, and then that illuminates the crown above you. But the 6 chakras within you are all circles. They're wheels. They're wheels of energy. And a wheel is this 12 is 30 degrees of separation, and it's the 12. It's completion, because it's 360 degrees. 12 30s, which is 360. So if you take the 12 hours with your fasting, even if it's just a liquid fast, if you take the 12 hours, then that 12 is 1 chakra, and 6 12s is 72. And that's the miracle of the 3-day fast. This is the importance of working in at least once a month the 3-day fast into your reality, into your lifestyle, because it's so 72 divine hours. 7 plus 2 is 9, which is God consciousness. It's the miracle of the 3 days in the tomb. That's why Jesus was 3 days in the tomb, because he regenerated himself in 3 days. So there's no food. So he's alive in there, he's just coming to a higher form of life, a higher form of reality, which is the pure light, by dry fasting for the 72 hours and receiving the gift of God. And that this is all being done without your knowledge by Santa Claus within you. He's running around with those reindeer and they're eating those magic mushrooms at the North Pole, and they're tweaking every single one of your organs. And that's the miracle. And that's how you rise to God at the right-hand side of heaven. This is the miracle. So every 12 hours that you do, that's a chakra. If you can do seven of them in a month, you've gone, if you can do 6 of them, the 6 in-body chakras in a month, that's the 72, and that's the miracle of the 72 hours or the 3 days. So I just wanted.
Very interesting. Yeah, I'm at 22 hours a day, and I've done a couple 72 hours. The 21-day fast almost ended me. I broke it with raw eggs. I don't suggest you do that. Ended up in the emergency room.
I remember that.
What a dumb, just imagine you do a 21-day fast. You're ready to break it with a fruit juice or something. Your body's like, thank you so much for doing that. And then I just break it with raw eggs and antibiotics and I'm dying, and wow. Yeah.
That was in Thailand, right?
Yeah. And nobody spoke English. And I was just like, I'm dying, right? Am I? And they're just like, oh, you're fine. But yeah, Remembrancer. Do you have any tips on how someone can transition to a raw vegan diet without all their past mistakes coming out of their face with the acne? That's what I seem to get every single time I go on fruit base. It's just boom, explosions.
Yeah, so from my personal experience, that is symptomatic of unresolved candida issue. So when the candida is still thriving in the body because the liver and adrenals are so compromised they can't help in the assimilation of the fructose, and that becomes food for the candida. And that will just create blockage in the kidneys, and that'll express itself through acne. So, I mean, you probably know what I'm going to say, brother. John Rose, all the way. The only way that my body wanted the raw was the juice feast. And it's simple. Just drink juice till you stop pooping solid matter. It's literally that simple. And, you know, for me, this also gets into the mucoid plaque, because I got the mucoid plaque out before I did the juice feast, and it still took 100 days to get to a level where I was, you know, even on day 100, actually, I was still having solid bowel movements. So that's more than 3 months. And it's extreme, but it's also the balance of the other extreme. We have been extreme in the opposite polarity for so long that it requires this evening out process to balance out that karma. And for me, on day 50 of the juice feast, that's when the you know lava-like bowel movements were happening. That's when I was getting a lot of antibiotics. The sulfur was just coming out of solution because it was bonding to the magnesium and all the watermelon juice. And you know, I would even say before the juice feast, it has to start with the iridology. We need to know the strengths and weaknesses of the body, what's going on with the organs, specifically the liver and the adrenals and the kidneys. And we need to practice this in reverse order, cleaning out the way the organs eliminate into one another. So when you breathe, it goes into the lungs, that goes to the blood, that goes to the liver, and that goes to the GI tract. So we have to first clean the GI tract. We need to clean the liver, then the blood, and then the lungs. And one thing that I want to say about what Charlie said, and I'm sure he'd agree with this, but I heard him use the word illumination, and for me, I feel like the most semantically coherent resonance is enlightenment. And I think this is why they call themselves the Illuminati, is because when your path is illumined, it's from an outer source of light. But when it's the light and the ment of the mind, ment is mind, so light, the light in the mind, enlightenment. When this is shining forth, then we are following our own projection that's coming from source creation, because the only way to get into that part of the faculty is to be virtuous and be in alignment with these higher values. And if anyone's familiar with the work of Professor Arnold Ehret, who talks about the body as an air gas engine, the way I think about it, some Hindus actually believe there's a flame in the heart, which I've really enjoyed visualizing that and breathing into that. And I think it might be true. I like to think that it is true. But basically how I see the body is that once we get all this density out of the lower area and we start to rise up, we can spark that heat by igniting it with our breath and implode that up the spine into a spark that actually kicks on the hydrocarbon of the oil, and that's illuminating the lamp within. But I think this process is going to require a return to the garden, whether that's planting essences that are in your room, because breatharianism in a city is one thing, but in the garden it's a total other thing. One thing we haven't even been told about, for the most part, if you look at the work of Dr. Zach Bush, you can literally just go into the forest, find some ferns, and replenish the microbiome with probiotics just with your breath. So what does that tell you about where you're supposed to be and what feeds your body? So to answer the question, it has to start with iridology. Where are you at? Then in my experience, to get to the raw, you have to juice feast. You have to juice feast to get out all the crap. Literally all the old crap. And as that comes out, you're going to have people come in and out of your lives reflecting that as within, as without process. And it's going to be difficult, but it's literally a devotional test from the universe to see how much are you willing to love yourself. And as someone who, went to school for 17 years, it was more educational than all those 17 years. It was the greatest love I've ever experienced. And as a traveler, I can say it was the greatest journey I've ever been on. And if you have to look at, if the proof is in the pudding, just look at John Rose. I mean, I think Kacey and I would agree, there's no one who's more physically fit, mentally agile, and childlike, and just warrior on 100%. Like John Rose, to me, is the living proof that this is the ultimate expression of the human diet. And he goes into the science, of course, of the biophotons being connected to everything. So I'd really say look up the John Rose Juice Feast protocol, but also have that foundation of iridology to help you liver and adrenals back online so they can process the fructose properly.
Yeah, I've been taking pictures of my eyes since the beginning. I've seen some changes, like I have brown eyes, but I've seen green in them. So to think that I wish I could probably share my screen if I could figure that out. But like Dr. Morris would say, like there's only blue and brown eyes. So I have blue eyes. I want my blue eyes. I really do. I tried doing the John Rose juice feed. I got to 13 days and I was just, the floodgates of Nazareth were coming out of me. And I just was like, whoa, okay. And I had to stop at some point. I was like, I felt dehydrated, but I feel like I do have that mucoid plaque. It's got to be in there and I want it out.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of mucoid plaque and specifics, I mean, it literally just creates a barrier to where we can't absorb anything. We can't absorb all of this life-giving properties of food and fruit when we have this mucoid plaque that's coating everything in our insides. It's coating our entire intestines, and it's very sticky. And so the more sticky things that we eat, you mentioned rice and beans, and while those can be a quick transition to get off the immediate meat eating, it's only going to create more of that sort of sticky gunk that's going to stay within your system, and which is going to make it a little bit harder to break it free and get it out. So as Ember was saying, like it truly is just giving the body that time, whatever time it needs to get rid of it, to flush it out. And there are certainly herbs and tinctures and things you can take to sort of accelerate that process a little bit while you're juice feasting. But juice feasting is really just the optimum way of just saying, hey, like, I'm not going to give any more, I'm not going to pile on any more layers, and I'm going to get out of my body's way so that it can truly do the miracles work that it can do, because it is a miraculous machine. It can heal everything, anything that we cause to it. But we just have to get out of its way. We have to stop piling things onto it and truly let it happen.
Yeah, and go. I just want to say really quickly, mucoid plaque, super important. And what got the mucoid plaque out of my body, and this might be perfect for even better than just going at the juice feasting, because I did do the mucoid plaque removal before the juice feast. And for me, that was the bentonite clay psyllium husk shakes. If you don't want to weigh it out and mix it yourself, just look up Blessed Herbs colon cleansing kit. It's only 10 days. You basically eat a little bit less food to shrink down your stomach for 4 days. And then for 10 days, five times a day, you mix the bentonite clay psyllium husk in some apple juice or whatever juice you have available. At the time, I was using pasteurized apple juice. Not the best, but you got to do what you have available. So if you only have pasteurized apple juice, don't beat yourself up. Just do it. Just get that in and get that out. On day 9, I got out a 10-inch ringworm nematode. After I got out mucoid plaque on day like 6, 8, and 10, I got mucoid plaque. And day 9, I got a parasite out. So Blessed Herbs colon detox kit. Look it up. Bentonite clay psyllium husk shakes. Look it up. That will really get the mucoid plaque coming out of the body, and then entering into the juice feast will go even deeper.
Yeah, just great information, great gnosis, everyone. I mean, this is just powerful truth. You know, that's really needed. That the meat, dairy, and egg diet is a total failure for herbivores. Is the fact that you constantly need, and this has proven itself out because the supplement industry is a trillion dollar a year industry. It's so huge. So people, meat, dairy, and eggs, that's what that's what you need to get big, strong, and healthy. But all of these people are spending all of the rest of their disposable income on all of these synthetic supplements to try and find some real healing or to heal it's not working. The meat, dairy, and egg diet doesn't work. And then, of course, the beauty of their system and how evil they are is that the supplements in their synthetic form, all they do is make you constipated. It's a complete waste of money, an absolute complete waste of money. Your body is ingesting virtually none of it. It just passes right through you, and you're just throwing your money away. And people are doing this because they're not getting satisfaction from their meat, dairy, and egg diet. So at the end of the day, the beauty of becoming an honest and true frugivore is that it's everything. You don't require any supplements. Like Justin said, you could add this and that, and there's all sorts of little things that you can do to aid, especially in the beginning. But the system is holistic. It does everything for you. There's no necessity for supplements. You don't need to do anything else. And then this is the beauty of your food. Think about what they've done to women with regard to food. This is a huge one because women in our true story are our teachers, they're caregivers, and they're great leaders with regard to the family. But not anymore, because women are planted like trees into the kitchen. But put your pearls on, because I need you to look good while you're making them cakes and muffins for us. But they plant women like a tree in the kitchen. There's no need for it. What is dinner? Eat a mango. What is dinner? Just take a slice of watermelon. That's your dinner. What you didn't need to spend your entire day in the kitchen prepping. Just the raw coconut. There it is, right there. That's your dinner. How much time did it take to prep that? And then the woman who is genius, the woman who is the yin to our yang, completing us, is then free to be the genius that she is. But she's not, because she's doing dishes and she's preparing. And everybody with these meat, dairy, and eggs, they need sauces all the time. So you got to have a sauce for this, sauce for that. And so she's just working nonstop. It's you take the woman out of the equation by planting her like a tree in the kitchen, and it is despicable. It is an absolute planned reality, and it's absolutely despicable. When you let the mother loose within our families, she will heal us. She'll balance the father, she'll educate the children, she'll take the children out into nature. Nature will educate her and them. The children will become balanced, the father will become balanced. She has all that time to be what she is, giving and giving and giving. And when we root her and plant her in the kitchen, not that she wants to be, but she's giving death. And that's why so many women suffer, because they see their families suffer, and they just can't process that, because their life and their living and their love and their care and compassion, they don't want to be the source or the cause of pain and suffering, but they are, because of being rooted in the kitchen and serving all of this toxic, acidic food that is just killing us, absolutely killing us. When we're born, we're gifted and everything. Time down to 60 years, and it's getting more, and it's not getting better, it's getting less and less and less, because they're amping up the poisons and everything. Like Justin said, it's in the air, it's in the water, it's in the thoughts that we take, because it's the source material that we see on TV, radio, everywhere else. So I wanted to interject that point. Supplements are proving that. Now, the other thing is that earlier in the show, Kacey was talking about grapes, and when he eats grapes, we're all different. So we're all brothers and sisters from the one true father and the one true mother. So we have so much in common, and the difference between us is almost imperceptible, but we are different. Each of us are one-offs, we're miracles, we're unique creations. So we're all a little different. For me, I could do nothing but just consume grapes and watermelon, and I am literally in a perfect state of mind and body all the time. I don't need anything else, just grapes and watermelon. It speaks to my soul. It connects to me at that kind of level. It is the perfect balance of foods for me, and that's it. And that's, largely what we do. For Colleen, is she could just drink orange juice nonstop, and then that's her source, the Or Angel, the Or Angle of light, and which is Or is gold. And so she's just drinking gold, and she's becoming filled with gold. So you have to know thyself. And so we're all a little different. So maybe grapes don't work for you, but something else will. But when you're eating the raw foods, try to pick the fruits. It's harder with vegetables because they're all filled with pulp, but try to pick the fruits that have virtually no pulp. So the example that I gave with the watermelon is one time I bought a 23 or 24 kilo watermelon, huge, and I juiced it all up, and it just produced so many liters of juice. But at the end of it, it produced less than a quarter liter of pulp. Tiny. It was just that much in a cup from a 24 kilo watermelon. So when you're eating watermelon, that's juicing, and you don't have to juice. You can just eat the watermelon because there's virtually no pulp. And the grape is something similar. Now, you were also talking, Kacey, about the grapes in relation to your acne as well. One of the big things about grapes, they're really great, because I always use the analogy, the grapes force you to look in the mirror every single day. They're an actualizer. They're a real cleanser. So grapes are really detoxifying in the moment, and so I can see that for you, you might experience it through that acne. But again, don't fear it. And it's same with the teeth pains. When you're going through this process, again, you're healing your electrical circuits. So you're going to feel stimulus through your teeth, because that's where your electrical circuits are going through. So you're going to be feeling some things through your teeth. So don't fear any of this. Don't fear the Reaper. Do the work and get to Passover, and then death will pass you over. Don't fear the reaper. Do the work, trust in the plan, and the plan is to become alkaline, and that is a frugivore, that is consuming of these raw foods, and as best as possible, as little or no pulp. Things like coconut meat has pulp, but it's amazing because with coconut, it is so readily and sort of transmutated by the body. It's very easy for the body to process coconut. It's just one of those things. It's symbiotic with our very essence. So coconut, I heard time, and I just agree with it 100%. It's sort of the carne. It's the meat of this world is coconut meat. That's what they call it. They call it the carne di coco. And that is the meat of this world, because our body processes coconut so easily, so readily. So, and that's meat. You're looking at meat, and you can make, if you're still hung up on, our, oh wow. And if you're still hung up on, the necessity for cooked food or something more solid, there's your meat right there.
Okay, he's making it look far too yummy right now because I really would like some. Especially with that chamoy sauce. Oh my gosh, that's tamarind, isn't it?
Yeah,
Tamarind
this is
sauce?
chamoy sauce. It's artisanal. There's no salt, no artificial preservatives. They put baking soda in this, and it is exquisite. Yep. It's really good. It's my favorite. This is my favorite. Yep. Exactly right.
It looked like I thought you were eating ketchup, and I was about to go on your ketchup cleanse. I'm disappointed.
It tastes very similar, but it's just tamarind, so it's also naturally anti-parasitic. It is so good. One of my interests is actually seeing all of these addictions as having an organic plant-based origin. So like there were people over another night eating French fries, and so I came out, I chopped up thick coconuts, brought out the tamarind sauce, and so that's like raw French fry experience. And then if you want sweet and sour chicken, you get a slightly fermented rambutan. If you want string cheese, you go for the heart of palm. If you want a fillet of fish, it's a very specific quality of texture of coconut meat. Mac and cheese is simply wild rice cooked in coconut milk, nothing but coconut milk. If you're gonna do the cooked. And I've been looking at how even lobster. The first durian I had was the texture of steamed lobster, and it tasted like deep fried garlic cheese sticks. And that's what my durian tasted like. Durian is my favorite food in the world. But I'm convinced, even this is why things like juicy fruit, bubblegum, it's based off of the juicy fruit of jackfruit. It smells like jackfruit. So what is known is that we have epigenetic encodings of what equates to abundance in our brain. Because if you cut down a jackfruit, which is the biggest fruit in the world, that equates to, all right, everybody, no more work today. We're just going to process and eat this jackfruit and chill out. So when you're eating that bubblegum, just chewing on it, getting that flavor, it's telling your brain, this is abundance. This is what you need. It's like a hypnotism. And so ultimately, one day I'd love to have a restaurant to help people transition away from the more dense forms of prana and really reverse engineer, where do these addictions come from? Because they're obviously just trying to disguise them with herbs to begin with. And the reason that is because that's what we're meant to eat. We're meant to eat these fruits and vegetables. They've just been manipulated, extracted, and presented to us in a deceiving manner.
Absolutely. And again, guys, going right back to the source of all of this in the third ventricle of the brain. You cannot have addictions if you have copious amounts of melatonin, serotonin, and dopamine. And those are the three main secretions that your body is supposed to be generating. That's what the combination of the mother, the father, the child, melatonin, serotonin, and dopamine, that's what they do. Happiness secretion, which is the serotonin, and then the feel-good secretion. The dopamine is so important because you simply cannot be addicted to something that is working against you. Because when you have dopamine within your system, you feel good and you don't have any urges. And then, see, this is the thing about serotonin and dopamine, as well, of course, as the melatonin, is that they're taking away your urges to eat. So once you get over this hump by just biting the bullet and going solely into fruit juicing and just trusting that this will work, is that you get over the sort of a 6-day hump. And after that 6th day, you begin to produce enough amounts of serotonin and dopamine in your system that it's regulating your urges, and you're no longer getting those urges for solid food or my stomach feels empty. It's just, these are bad habits, and all we have to do are teach ourselves good habits. And the thing that's incredible is that God and Santa Claus, who live next door to each other inside of us, that's what they do for us every single moment of the day through this melatonin, serotonin, and dopamine. It's taking away these carnal, earthly urges to fill my stomach back up again. No. And then the other brilliance of this is that you just get busy with life. It's like, again, taking the mother out of the kitchen and making her active in nature once again. It's like, you're not even at home. You're up a mountain with the mother, and she's packed this incredible, lunch for everybody that's just, beautiful fruit and whatever else. And we're just learning about nature, and we're interacting with the mother, and you're not even thinking about food. You're not tempted by any of this because you're alive again.
We are creators.
And enlightenment is better than illumination, to pull the light within. Is to create that inner light, which is that enlightenment, because en is in is in. So it is the way. And so this entire process is a gift, and it makes things easier for you, but you have to stay with it. You have to stay with it past a certain point. And then, see, because what's happening, the longer you go, the more the tapeworm inside of you is fighting back. Your left brain is a tapeworm. It absolutely is. There's no better way to describe it. The left brain is a tapeworm, and it is punishing you for attempting to kill it. And when you go up the line, it cannot survive, and it will do everything to punish you for leaving it, because it wants power. And when you give in, you're giving in to that tapeworm, and that's what people, after the Santos could tell you, after 100 days, 120 days, 180 days, the stuff that was still coming out of him after that time limit, with a relatively clean diet beforehand, is frightening. It's frightening. So you just have to be all in with this process. You do. And that takes the faith in God and the faith in the mother in nature, and knowing that they will not let you down, and they won't.
What are you doing to me, Charlie? You're inspiring me to go on a juice fast now. My carnivore audience is going to kill me. The only question is, do I go for the one-arm pull-up first, or just abandon that stupid goal?
They got you looking at it upside down, Kacey, because the thing is that what they tell you is that to be able to do the one-arm push-up, you need all of that muscle to be able to pull yourself up, right? Wrong. That's putting more weight. You're creating more weight. It makes it harder. So then you have to work harder, and you have to have more muscle to overcome the muscle that you're putting on yourself. Get rid of the excess. Get rid of the excess. Become these thin, streamlined, quick mind, quick thinking, athletic individuals like we frugivores are. And then the one-arm push-up is easy because you've got less mass. Your one arm is able to do so much more because you don't have the weight. And that's the the beauty of the Robbie Robertson song from the band. The weight. Take the load off of Fanny and put it on God. When you take the weight off of you, you rise to heaven, and you truly do.
Yeah, I'm all in. I want to do it. So just practically speaking, is there any way or need to combine like intermittent fasting with a juice fast? Can I condense it, because I'm just worried about multiple blood sugar swings, because that's where, like, I noticed I just get so tired after fruit meals sometimes, but that's why I'm doing 1 meal a day right now. It's one spike and it's like I feel great all day long. I can go 22 hours, no problem. It should be fine with the juice, but it has me a little worried. Should I just go for it and just drink juice when I'm thirsty, hungry, just all day long, stop at
Yeah,
some point?
because you're looking at a completely different way of bringing fuel to your body with the juice. That is in the quickest and most optimum form for your body to just take it on. So you're not going to be getting these quick spikes, and I mean, with juice feasting, you do want to be consistent with how much you're drinking, and you do want to be drinking quite a lot of juice. Like a lot of that, I've seen anywhere from people recommend a minimum 3 liters per day, but upwards of 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons per day of juice, because that's you just want to be constantly providing your body with enough fuel and enough nutrients so that it never gets to that point of that energy crash. So it does take a little bit more upfront to get to that point, but then once you've had enough glycogen stored in your muscles from consuming juice on a regular basis, then you can kind of slow down a little bit. But at the very beginning, and where most people falter, is they don't feel like they have enough energy on juice, and it's because they're not consuming enough juice. So it does kind of have to be more consistent throughout the day, and more often, and a lot more of it.
I also want to say that, and I can email this to you after, Kacey, but John Rose has an incredible lecture on juice feasting in Houston. He did. It's about 2 hours long, and he goes through all the subtleties, all the herbs you can take to help supplement and support your organs along the process. I also want to say that chaga mushroom tea will be a great friend during the juice feast. I was on day 80, and I had one day where I had to drive 6 hours, shoot a wedding for 10 hours, and then drive 4 more hours to go to a place I was staying in Southern California. And after I got to the final destination after shooting the wedding and driving, I was on fire, like super full of energy. So don't think that the juice feast is gonna, necessarily hold you back. If anything, it's gonna give you way more energy. You're gonna notice you're no longer hungry from the stomach. It'll start to be like a tickling in the throat, and that tickling will be your body saying, "All right, give me some juice." But to also support your energy levels, I'd really recommend doing long, slow brews of chaga mushroom tea, and supporting yourself with that. Chaga tea is the coffee of teas, and it's really nourishing and supporting for the adrenal system.
Yeah, interesting. I think I've seen that John Rose clip. I've talked with John Rose. I was on, I think, day 8 or 9, and things are flushing out, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. And John was like, email me anytime. And so we're talking, and we're trying to figure out, like, what the heck, like, is it just normal to just just liquids coming out the back? Is that how it goes?
So what I noticed was that the juicy fruits are flushing. The salads and vegetables are pulling. They are astringent. So what I would notice, that if my bowel movements were just too like diuretic, just total liquid and just flushing, I would make a very eclectic juice of a salad. So I'm talking cherry tomatoes, basils, romaine, radish, fennel, oregano, thyme, anything you'd put in a salad, juice that, make a nice green juice, and that will be more astringent and pulling. Because what's usually happening is you're getting to deeper layers of impacted fecal matter, and the juice is just going to flush right by it. But for some reason, those greens and those vegetables have a pulling nature to how the body receives that. And in addition, when you get to that place of just flushing, that could also be a great time to do a 1 teaspoon of bentonite clay, 1 teaspoon of psyllium husk, mix that in a cup to 2 cups of juice, drink that, and that will also help pull at these layers you're going back to.
Yeah, makes sense. I just remember doing several juice fasts, and those greens can really be super tasty. There's such a break. Like, fruit is nice, but after a while, it's like, that's a bit sweet. Now I want something savory. And then the celery juice with the lemon. My favorite's just celery, lemon, and then any dark leafy green. Oh, just sweet, or it's not sweet, salty, sour. And it's like, oh, that's so balancing. I really want to do this. I want to go 90 days because you see, like, I'm always so inspired. It's always the raw vegans. Every time I look back on everybody I've watched over the years, it's like Life Regenerator. Look at that guy. He's beaming light. And then John Rose is just helping the planet, and Lou Corona, like all of them, all the raw vegans. You guys are so inspiring. So that's what's always felt right. Don't know why I moved back to Canada for that, but I was in Thailand. I had it all.
Well, there's always a home for you here with us in Mexico too. That's what we're working on creating here. Is an ability for people to just come and build, whatever they want to, and then just get busy with the isness, which is the moment of life, and that's what it's all about. So you can do that. So you're not stuck back in Canada. It's just a temporary phase. You're meant to be there. It's exactly where you need to be right now. And where you then go is entirely up to you. And we'd love for you to be here doing your shows and enlightening everybody. And same with Justin, same with Amber as well. Would love to have them here, and then free to go whenever you want to go, wherever you want to go, but as a home base and just healing and teaching the rest of the world. That's what it's all about. Love to have Santos here as well. It'd just be amazing. So we'll
have the triangle. We'll have
that's right.
Santos in Puerto Morelos. We'll have Marie on the ocean in Oaxaca, and we'll have us in the middle, just kind of close to Mexico City. So we'll have the golden triangle.
Golden triangle, that's right. That's right. Creating the diamond. And so, again, everyone, and you were just saying about the fasting. Okay, this is important. Until you are ahead of the detoxifying stage of this process, until you get to a point where you're feeling just coursing with life. That's the thing when you're doing it right. When you drink pure orange juice, you sit down and you just have half a liter or whatever, just orange juice. You just feel like you could do anything. There's just you're not tired, and that's the whole point of life. Is there's so much to do. This sleep can come for when you're dead or something like that. It's so boring.
Although it's regenerative.
It is regenerative, but when you become in love with life, you just want to stay awake. So again, for myself, proof is in the pudding, right? So in the year 2020, I knew that I needed to do everything I could to serve as many people as I could, and I rarely slept in the year 2020. And the only way that I'm able to have done that for an entire year and have the workload that I have is through this diet. So you're saying, you hear these stories, and they're remarkable, and it's always with people that are connected to the truth, connected to the mother, connected to the father. And we can do anything when we heal ourselves and connect ourselves back to the father and the mother. We're miracles. We're purely miracles. And you have to stop taking shit from the system, because the system exists to control you. There's no other reason for it. Open your mind for a second. Just rationally think through this. Why is there a system? Why does it force you to go to school? If your parents tried to keep you at home, then they could literally, and if you're not following their protocols with homeschooling, they can literally take your kids away. That's sick. Who gave them that authority? And if you're a weirdo and you're feeding your kids just fruit juices, and you're teaching them that eating animals is bad, They can initiate a process to take your kids away from you. That's sick. That's sick. How did society gain such power over us? So that's, none of that is normal, none of that is natural, none of that is right, and that is a defining proof that the system that exists is there to control you. Stop taking of their hand. Their hand is diseased, and you just take back. You don't want their help, you don't want their assistance, you don't want anything from them. Go back from whence you came, and that is the earth, and that's the mother. And that's why Colleen and I and Amber and Justin, we all prefer the term Garden of Eden diet to veganism or vegan. It's one of these, again, it's just an electrified word to inspire anger and hatred and division. So, but it's the Garden of Eden diet. Joni Mitchell sang in her song Woodstock, and we have to get ourselves back to the garden. We absolutely do. We absolutely have to get ourselves back to the garden. And as Amber is saying, it's far easier to do it if you're in the garden versus than in a city. And humbly speaking, I think that's what the cities need to happen in the future. I think cities, the buildings need to be raised to the ground, and I think that cities need to be turned into gardens, not cities usurping the garden space. I think the gardens now need to come into the cities and usurp the city space, and that's what we can turn the cities back into, are these overflowing paradises of life, plants and fruits and vegetables. It'll be beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, and just looking at the term vegan, and you can look at it in the same sort of way that flat earth has been weaponized. Like, these are just these highly charged terms that are quickly used to divide people and say, oh, you do that thing, like you're crazy. But it's truly just getting back to our roots. It's truly just getting back to the Mother Earth and what she provides. And you can look at it from an energetic standpoint, like what more magnificent example of gifting us with life than a fruit tree? What's a more beautiful example of just this thing that grows in abundance? This food just literally just falls off the tree and rots away if we don't eat it. It's just giving it to us. And then you look at an animal. There's no animal on this earth that is willingly giving itself to be consumed. There's no animal that's out there like, hey, kill me and eat me. Like, so just looking at it from an energy standpoint, you have to steal that energy from an animal. From a tree, it's giving it to you. So that's, it's just again pointing to this example of this is what we're here to do. This is what we're here to discover, and it's supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be simple. We've just gotten away from making it simple by believing all of these experts and whatever else that make it all just so complicated. We've given away our faith in ourselves and our faith in our children. Our children know exactly what to do. Our children love fruit, and they're never going to go out there and murder an animal. They're never going to want to go do that. They don't want to do that. So we should listen to the children and let them lead us back to this holistic truth of where we are and how we should be. And yes, there are definitely some steps that we have to do to get back to that point, because as Amber so beautifully put, we've been living in extremes for so long. We've been conditioned to live in this left brain extreme for so long. So we do have to be gentle with ourselves and recognize that there is going to be a lot of work to get back to that point of simplicity. But once we're there, then it's just so simple. Like, it's so simple, and everything is so simple. The truth is always so simple. And the more that we try and complicate it, the more that we get away from that simplistic truth, the more that we start spiraling and getting ourselves into trouble and trying all sorts of different things and whatever else. But yeah, it is just so simple.
Yeah, I hear you. Like, when I'm out making videos, walking around, I love filming animals in slow motion and doing that on a carnivore diet. Like, it was always pulling at me. It doesn't feel right. Obviously, we know that. But man, speaking of flat earth, by the way, for those, Charlie, why are you doing this to me? He came out when I first found you, Charlie. I don't remember what it was. It maybe like an interview on Project Camelot, maybe. And I saw him. I'm like, who is that guy? Like, he's given me some truth that I'm not seeing anywhere else. And thank you so much for putting everything you had into 2020 to keep us sane here. And then when I hear you saying, oh, the fruit-based diet, I'm like, oh boy, Dr. Morse, okay, here we go. That was the truth. What am I doing? And then the flat earth. And I was like, no way, man. Like, I know Eric Dubé, he was so disappointed when I went carnivore. He was like, you piece. He let me have it. Thank God. But so somebody just posted this link. If anybody's curious, it's still on YouTube somehow. I don't know how this thing has not been taken down. It's called What on Earth Happened? It's a 13-part series by a guy named Ewaranon, Ewaranon. Maybe the best documentary I've ever seen. Like, it goes into the flat earth, but then it also goes into all the stuff about what's happening now and some strange plot twists later on. And it's just like, wow, it's long. It's like 8 hours. But if anybody has not seen that, if you're on the fence about flat earth, it's like, I don't think you can be after watching that. And like, I've watched it with my girlfriend and her friend here, and they're both like, yep, it's flat. So I think, yeah, flat earth, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's just another example of a way that they can get us to, because you can't prove that the Earth is a globe. There's no way that you can go out and prove that the Earth is a wet spinning ball floating in space. You have to believe some given figure, some expert, something somewhere along the way, something out there. You have to believe them in order for that to make sense. But our kids know that the earth is level. You just look out, the earth is flat, and water sits in a very flat space. You can definitively prove based on this curvature that the earth is flat. And so that's just another example of like the grand conspiracy. The main one that ties them all together is, what can organized society do to drive us away from the simple truth of who we are and our connection with God? And everything is designed to get us away from that point. Everything is designed to get us away from the fact that we are divine beings. We're here for a divine reason, to learn and grow and to ascend. That's the whole point of this. And organized society is desperate to keep us away from that truth, because they can't have slaves. You can't have slaves when you have people who realize this simple truth. When you have people realize that they are activated and that they are connected with God, oh, slavery doesn't work anymore. So they have to do everything, which includes distorting the truth about the foundation of where we stand on. And it's actually, and a lot of people ask, like, why is this important? Why does it matter where we live on? Like, it doesn't change my life, but it's everything. It's foundational. If you can't even truly understand the ground that you stand on, then what else are you basing off of? You're basing off of lies. It's all based on lies. But yeah, it's just it's a wild process. And going back to the sort of vegan topic, there is a lot of failure that kind of happens within people who switch to quote unquote vegan, because they immediately jump to this processed food way of veganism. And that is the sort of cabal-led version of veganism that's very much pushed, where they have all these fake meats, which I won't even get into what's possibly in these meats, but these processed foods that they try and get people to eat, and that does ultimately make people sick. It's a very cheap alternative, and it's processed, and it does lead to poor health. So getting away from this processed version of it, anything that's built by organized society, it's ultimately going to lead us to death. Simply put, like, we have two choices, life or death. And yeah, it's just it's good to recognize that the mother around us, she provides us life and light. And all we have to do is just reach out and ask for it.
Brilliant. And Justin, what do they call a pool or a collection of waste fluids? They call it a cesspool. And this is what they've done to us. They've got us ingesting cess. And so look at the word processed foods. It's pro-cess. Cess is shit. That's what a cesspool is. It's a pool of shit. And it's a pool of shit, and they're pro, and these foods are pro shit because that's what's in these foods. And again, like
Wow.
Josh and I teach, Amber knows this as well. When you look at these processed foods, when they all have tons of salt in it, do you know what's in processed salt? Glass, ground up glass. That's what your table salt is ground up glass. At least a third of your table salt is ground up glass, which is then poking holes in your colon so that you become full of holes and you're leaking everywhere, just like they leak, the vampires that they are. So this processed food is filled with table salt, and table salt is at least 1/3 ground up glass. That's what they're feeding you, because you are an animal. You're an animal that believes that you're an animal, that you came from the jungle. We, like you said earlier on, Kacey, we have always looked like this.
Ah, yeah, see?
Yeah,
The nori is salt.
yeah. Go ahead, Amber.
So what is the first food that you come across when you go to any place in the world is seaweed. And I started taking salt out of my diet when I learned about cell salts. That it's not the sodium chloride / glass that I wanted. Wow, Charlie, that's so mind blowing what you just said right there. People really take that to heart, because I've heard that before and I needed to hear that again. Salt is a real weaponized part of the culture, and the best salt substitute. I don't even want to say substitute. The salt you're given is a substitute for this, which is seaweed, which is nori, which has B12. So if you want your B12 and your iodine for every cell in your body, get some nori, get kelp. If you want super iodine, you can get wakame. There's all kinds of amazing seaweeds. So seaweed is the first food you come across when you're about to cross into land. You see all the seaweed on the shore and in the water still, and then of course you see the coconut trees. And I'm crazy about both of those foods, as you can tell. They're just my staples in my diet. And I think that one dangerous part of these labels we're talking about, although they are useful, saying I'm carnivore or I'm vegan or I'm vegetarian, is that no, you are a perpetual energy machine that has the ability to assimilate dense and very light forms of prana. And so I don't consider myself a vegan. I consider myself a process of breath crystallizing to harmonize the material and spiritual realms. So like Professor Arnold Ehret says in the mucusless diet healing system, we are air gas engines. So the reason it's so confusing, I was like, am I a vegan or am I paleo? Or you are what you are doing, and truly you are getting back to this point of marrying the breath so that can spark the fuel of the oil that aligns you with this process of enlightenment and Christ, the Christ within. Christ being the chrism at this crucifixion point in the brain, where it can crucify, meaning magnify 1,000-fold in vibration in the Golgotha skull, to harmonize and resonate with these higher forms of etheric foods. And when people ask me, like, why is this whole shape of the realm important? It's because you are in also a perpetual energy machine. The earth is a free energy device. That's why it is the most occulted aspect of where am I? Because if you knew, you would know the shape of the dual reciprocating torus field that is the foundation for free energy siphoning from counter space. What's up, dude? And that's why it's important. So if people tell you it's not important, just remind them nature is demonstrating infinite energy renewal. And when we understand the shape of that, we'll come into resonance that with ourselves. And so I personally, the way I see the whole flat globe dichotomy is this is actually a problem reaction solution to the ultimate truth, which is that it is a torus that has a globular like auric field, and even you know a half sphere dome or an egg, depending on if you look at the Bhumandala Vedic model of the cosmos. So it's like that problem of blind men touching an elephant. They touch the tail, oh it's a whip. They touch the leg, oh it's a tree trunk. They touch the nose, and oh it's a hose. So some people are focusing on the spherical element and resonating with that truth. Some people are like, well, this is just underneath my feet. It's clearly flat. I mean, obviously it's flat. But what I see is that it is a torus field for sure, with a dielectric inertial plane, which is the flat aspect that we're articulating. But you know, we're really being boxed in with these semantically imprecise labels that not only polarize us, but they put us in something that is not an endpoint of truth, but yet just another hurdle to overcome and transcend all labels as we return to the free energy devices we are.
That's absolutely brilliant. That's Nikola Tesla. That's exactly what Nikola Tesla taught and lived by the way. That's the absolute truth. And it's so funny because while Amber was talking to us, somebody came by and Amber said, "What's up, dude? What's in our words? What's in our language? What's up, dude? You wanna know somebody? Listen to what they say and what comes out of their mouths. What's up, God? God is what's up." And do you know what a dude is? If you look at the etymology of the word dude and where Dude Ranch comes from, has nothing to do with the Wild West or anything like that. Dude is one who is righteous and pure of thought and mind, who is on a path that is straight and narrow. That's what a dude is. Any major dude will tell you. Yeah. Any minor world that falls apart surely will, fall back together again. And any major dude will tell you. That's what a dude is.
Oh,
what's
that's
up, dude?
Steely Dan. That's Steely Dan. They just know.
What's up, dude? What's up, dude? There it is. That's how you can tell everything you want to know about Amber. What's up, dude? It's all the truth. It's pure truth. It's God. It's enlightenment. That's how you can tell. Listen to these words that people say, and you listen to the mainstream media, and you listen to people like Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about the globular Earth and stuff. I just want to throw up. I just want to vomit all over these people because they're so disgusting. And every word that comes out of their mouth is the disguise.
Yeah, there's no integrity with that side. You can tell, like, they just want to make fun of it. And it's like, oh, mic drop, we got you. Take that. Like, there's nothing to it. I thought I was woke before, with knowing Bigfoot was out there. I was like, oh yeah, you've been hiding it. We knew it. Or aliens. And it's like flat earth kind of destroys all those. That's why I hated flat earth in the beginning, because I was like, well, what do you mean? No, there's no aliens. I read a UFO book when I was like 8 years old or something. So I've been fascinated with that. And I've wasted so much time people talking about they're on the backside of the moon. Oh, what's behind there? Why aren't they showing it to us? And What on Earth documentary shows some fascinating stuff about what the stars are, just the way there's waters above. It's fascinating, the whole firmament and all that. It's wow, it's magic. There's water up there. It's like twinkling. It's like, oh, why is that?
Can you post that link for us? That would be awesome.
Yeah, did you get it, Justin?
Yeah, I got it in the chat. I can share with you, Colleen.
Beautiful. Thank you.
And remember, everyone, like when people ask about the level Earth, I always say, just know thyself, learn thyself, because from the bridge of your nose up is the flat Earth, is the single eye, is the flat Earth. Everything is right there. The sphenoid bone is a bone that is connected to every other bone in your skull. It's the only bone in your skull that connects to every other skull. And it is flat, and it is circular, and it is attached to a dome. That's what your skull is. Your skull is a dome over a flat circular plane, which is your sphenoid bone. And right here in the middle, supporting, is the Ark of the Covenant. You are the Ark of the Covenant. You are the child of God on this magical journey, and nobody can harm you. No one can stop you. unless you allow them to stop you. So that's why they lie. It's the only power they have. The only power they have is a lie, because God has gifted you with everything else. You have the power to be Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, whatever it is, you possess those superpowers. Gilligan is flying until the skipper says, "Gilligan, what are you doing?" And he said, "I'm flying." "You can't fly." And Gilligan says, "I can't." And he falls to the ground. That's how it works. That's what we do to our children. Our children are pure magic. If they continue to grow in the first 2 years at the same rate, they would be as tall as telephone poles. But we poison them. We limit them. We scare them. And we subjugate them to our rules and our system. And we know jack shit. We don't eat jackfruit, so we know jack shit. If we ate jackfruit, we'd know more. But we don't. And then we force children to live our way. And their way, as Justin was saying, is the right way. And we're forcing them through threats. Parents beat their, I love my kids, but they're beating their children to be as stupid as they are. That's our reality. Children are pure enlightenment because they came from the womb. The womb is a W, which is the phallic of the father with the V. There's the V of the mother, and there's the phallic of the father to create the W. That's the father in the mother, which is the womb, and that's the child, and that's heaven on earth. So a child comes to us from heaven on earth, and then where do they find themselves? In a hospital with this disgusting medical system doctor with a mask and all of these instruments around him, and the first thing he does, bang, smacks him. "Welcome to my world, kid. And you're not getting out of this hospital room alive because we're going to make your parents sign you away on a birthing certificate. And then you're a two-dimensional classification of numbers that we're going to buy, sell, and trade for the rest of your life." Yeah, we need smelling salts after hearing that story. Holy cow. It's just incredible, the lie that we live with, and everybody's just totally okay with it. Totally okay with it.
To kind of pick up on that self-reflexive mapping Charlie is talking about, recognizing that we are the microcosm of the macrocosm, and there's this mirroring going on between our own geometry and where we are, as the fractal nature of this realm suggests. I think there's also a reason that your eye is basically an archaic flat earth map. You have the pupil of the North Pole. The ring, most people have blue eyes, that's the water. And then around that is the white ice wall of the whites of your eyes. So your eye is literally a map of where you are. And so I'm with Santos Bonacci right now, and what I want to talk to him more about is this nature of counterspatial relationship. Because maybe we have two eyes because they're two realms that we are phasing with, and that's how this place can work. That's what I'm interested in talking to him about while I'm here in Puerto Morelos. And then one funnier, simple one that I like is what the Jamaicans, the Rastafaris talk about. They're so great with the words, and their word for God is Jah. And so they say that Jah is actually written in your face because I knows Jah and Jah knows I. So literally it's written on your face, this relationship with the divine and where you are.
Hey, and Justin, yesterday in decoding the book of Matthew, what did Jesus say? That it is far better to maim yourself of your two eyes so that you should only see through a single eye. and that thou would have the true richness of this world if they saw through their single eye. So better not to have feet and not to have hands if they reach out to carnal desires and carnal pleasures. Better to maim yourself than to live in perpetual. And what did Jesus say? Better that than living in the perpetual ring of fire. And that's where we're headed when we're constantly tempted. And that's what the thinking brain, the left brain, does. It's constant temptation of sin, constantly tempting you to take one misstep and you've fallen again. And so this is where what we teach again and again and again. Take the load off of Fanny and put the load right on God. Put the load on God. Let God do the thinking for you. And you receive the gifts of his bountiful wisdom through intuition and telepathy, your sixth and seventh senses. People don't even believe they have those. They just know that they've got the 5 in-body senses down below. Oh, look at the avocado. Hey, and while Amber is doing that, let me quickly say to everyone, if
Beautiful. Yeah, Kacey, do you have any more burning questions on your mind? Any other topics you want to get into?
Not really. I think we could do this again anytime, but what a great day so far. Thank you all so much for coming. I learned a lot today, and I think a juice fast is on the horizon. That's the most exciting thing. It's like it's so extreme, but like just so fast, and just blaze for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're all about, right? Just the extreme. This is the extreme that can really catapult you to that holistic lifestyle. And then another good resource that I've found recently, I don't know if you've seen Raw Vegan Rising channels, Raw Vegan Rising's channel, but he's got a great little 25-minute protocol video on juice feasting. And I really enjoyed, because his whole thing is, once you get the mucoid plaque out, that's actually what holds our cravings. That's where our parasites, and that's where all these things kind of sit. So once you get that out of your system, then we don't have these desires to consume unnecessary amounts of salt and all these different foods, because that's where our cravings are really being held. So he again recommends juice feasting as a way to start this process into the raw food diet, because if you don't, then that mucoid plaque is always going to be sitting there, A, keeping you from absorbing the nutrients from the raw food, and B, providing those cravings, because these parasites, they tap into our nervous system. They've literally just hijacked into our way of being, and they steer us around. They're the ones that are giving us all these desires to eat all these different things. So if you can really do a good flush and get them all out and get to that starting point, then the rest is easy. The rest is simple.
Yeah, I think I need to definitely get to that level. Like right now, I'm very satiated, but they must be loving my starch. That's why they are just digging those meals. That sucks.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's why, it's a process, and you're appeasing right now, and that's okay too. Because it's a process, and God loves a trier, and but that's what they love right now are the starches. They're clinging to the starches, and that you'll hold on to them. What I was going to share with everyone, Amber just showed the avocado, and you notice how the avocado has 3 eyes. With the avocado, when you cut it in half, there's 3 eyes, and the solid eye is the single eye. And but during this juice fast, if any of you are concerned about the amount of weight that you're losing, which is great. This is the goal, is you want to become lightweight, because you have to rise up to heaven. So, but if you're concerned about how much weight you're losing, an avocado is so good for you. An avocado is just so easy for your body. It's so smooth. Just look at an avocado. And the meat of the avocado, it's so smooth, it's so easy, it's easy for your body to process, and it will put it'll keep the weight on you. So if you're a little concerned about the amount that you're losing during the process, then you can eat an avocado a day. And avocados are you can eat 5 avocados a day. They're so good for you.
Where are we going?
Oh yeah.
Nice, love it.
Awesome.
There's the bounty of
course, in
mangoes
Canada,
and papayas, avocados. Just
Beautiful
delicious.
Yeah.
Where's the coconut at, bro?
Oh, uh-oh. Yeah. there's
I actually think the coconut is also important, because so the coconut, the women will put the shells over their breasts. So the fruit has a royal family. The durian is the king. The mangosteen is the queen. You could probably guess who the jack is. It's jackfruit. I think the princess is the coconut. You're not going to read that anywhere, but I think that that's what it is. And coconut has lauric acid, which is one of the main ingredients in a mother's breast milk. And if you read in the Bible, it talks about how Samson was breastfed for 8 years. Michael Jordan was breastfed for 8 years. There is no better food for a child growing up than mother's milk. And most of us have been heavily deprived of that. And so I actually think that my obsession for the coconut, which I don't think it'll be forever, because I've never had an obsession that went forever. It's just transitioning me to the next thing. But I think that my obsession with the coconut is actually replenishing what my body needs in terms of that mother's milk, that coconut milk that is the divine feminine essence. And I want to highlight cayenne because a lot of people may have concerns about running a little bit cold on just juices. And you should always remember that you don't want to drink your juices at refrigerator temperature. You know, juices will optimally store at about 34 degrees. But you don't want to drink them when they're that cold. You want to remove them from the fridge, let them get to room temperature, and then drink them. And my favorite juice is what I call fire melon juice. So it's watermelon juice mixed with cayenne. And cayenne and actually all the nightshades have nicotine in them. And so they're good for the focus. A very small amount of nicotine. Like it takes 20 pounds of cabbage to have what you would find in a tobacco form that people would smoke. But so I really recommend the cayenne to warm up the body. It's very anti-parasitic. And just remember, when you see parasite eggs come out of you, that's how you know you need to have things like clove for 1 to 2 months, because the parasites will lay eggs when they're leaving your body to make you think that you got them. Yeah, exactly. Just chewing cloves in your mouth. I travel the world with a little glass full of cloves, because if someone breathes too much into my mouth, or if I get a really offensive odor, or if I eat something accidentally, like I told you that one time when I ate watermelon that had just been used to cut meat in Nicaragua, which I had no idea about, and I could taste it. And so I went home and I did the clove thing, and I raved about it because I felt so awful. But really recommend incorporating things like cayenne and warming herbs. And John Rose will talk about that. He actually talks about putting cayenne in your shoes to help warm up your feet. So just study John Rose, where he talks about the Cascara Sagrada to help bowel movements. After you get the bowels clean, using white oak bark to tone the diverticuli blowouts, because the GI tract will have a little bit of expansions going on. And for people who are worried about losing too much weight, I lost 20 pounds. So I went from like 144 to 122 in my weight. And I still had my kind of chunky squirrel cheeks, funnily enough, but I did look a little bit skinny in my ribs. But you got to realize is that you need to get to that level where you're not pooping anymore, so that you can build on healthy weight. Because the reason you may have a subconscious fear about not having enough weight is because your body knows you're so gunked up, you can't even assimilate all the food you're eating, because you're not what you eat, you are what you absorb. So just do the work, go through those stages of discomfort, hire a coach if you want to, let your community know if you feel that you need the emotional support. But I promise you, there's really no greater gift you can give your body than to transition it back to its natural state, and nothing tastes better than how health feels.
Yeah, I think that support is really key in this process, in this journey, and that's what's been so beautiful about this community and this family is we have people of all ranges wherever they're coming from, but they're all eager to look to this way of living as the truth, as the way. So wherever you are within that process, you've got You've got Amber to reach out to with his just expertise and wealth of knowledge, and he's putting everything that he does to practice. And you've got Charlie and Colleen, like everything that they say is something that they're doing. This isn't just hearsay. This isn't something that they're reading in a book. This is something that they're doing. Same thing with me. I don't know, I just started months ago, so I'm really just getting started. But everything that I do know is something that I'm willing to put into practice and that I have done. But then on top of that, we have plenty of group chats and things like that that are just going to sort of provide that support. So people who are going through these heavy detox symptoms, they don't have to feel like they're going at it alone. It's reaching out and saying, hey, I'm going through this, I'm struggling with this, and someone could respond to like, hey, yeah, I went through that as well, and this is what I did, and this is what helped with that. But it's really sort of indicative of the world that we need to be moving to, which is that love and support. That's the way that we get through all of this. So yeah, we are hitting 3 hours with this show, and it's been, it's flown by, and I've been loving every moment of it. But I do kind of want to wrap up and give everyone a chance to have any last comments, to say anything in particular. So we'll do a quick round to see if anyone has anything to say. We'll start with Charlie. What you got?
I'll just quickly interject for a sec. So again, what is the work? What is doing the work? What does that tangibly look like in your life? First and foremost, it starts with your food. Food is not the be all and end all, but it is your building block. It has to start with your food, because you will not get to any other level if you don't first change your eating habits. So it's first, but it is absolutely vital. And so again, the food doing the work is this alkaline foods. You are a frugivore. Just look it up, do the research for yourself, know it for yourself. And then what we shared with you here is raw. Get out of the kitchen. Get the mother out of the kitchen and let her lead your family again, because it's care, compassion, it's wisdom, it's love. That's what's missing in all of these families that are falling apart. Get her out of the kitchen. It doesn't take any time to prepare a raw mango. You just eat it. And it's breathing. And Colleen we did a show a while back, and Colleen was just saying, when you breathe, you need to breathe like you know God exists and that you want every square inch of you filled with God inside of you. So when you breathe like this.
I think we see Remembrancer breathing like that all the time.
and that's how you breathe. You just deep breaths. Breathe, because the ether is God. The air that exists is God. And when you breathe it deeply within you, you invite God deep within you, and that is the answer to all things. So breathe like it is your life, and that God is in the air. Breathe God deeply into you. So breathing is key. Meditation, cannot stress this enough. Meditation is what cleanses you from the horrors of living in this physical reality and dealing with other people and crap and jobs or whatever the rest of it is meditation. And the meditation is stillness and silence. You don't have to do anything, and you do not. If you want to chant a mantra in advance of attempting to meditate to put you into a more receptive frequency, that's great. But the whole point of meditation is silence. So that's what meditation is. You're not listening to a song. It's going into the closet, shut the door. The closet is the cloister, which is the claustrum within you. You go deep within you and you shut the door. And when you do, God arrives. Guaranteed every single time. And get out into the sunlight. The sun is a portal to God. The sun in the sky is a manifestation of the pineal gland in your head. That's what it is. The moon in the sky is a manifestation of the pituitary gland inside your head. As above, so below, as within, so as. It's all happening in every single moment, above you, within you, and below you. And so the sun in the sky, you need to activate your pineal gland, and you will through this food, you will through that breathing, you will through meditation. The black sun is the 13th ventricle of your brain. which is completely blacked out right now, and you must illuminate it. You must become the light of the world. That's what Jesus Christ is and was and now is eternally, is the light of the world, which is the 13th cranial nerve. You must illuminate the darkness within you by going within. That's what we mean by doing the work. And it's not rocket science. It is not, but it takes discipline. It takes commitment and it takes consistency. You must do this, and you must do this as if your life depended on it. And it does. Because here's what I'll leave you with. This will be a shock to some of you to hear, but you do not have to die. If you want to, you can. It's all around you. You see it. Everybody does it. Must be a great fad or something. But if you want to live forever, you can. But it takes doing this work. And guess what? It never stops. The moment you stop is the moment you begin to die again. So if you want to live forever, you can. This is what the Bible teaches you. This is the New Testament of the Bible is teaching you how to live forever. And the book of Revelations is telling you two things. Do the work and live forever, or die, and around and around and around and around the wheel you will go. That's what the book of Revelations is telling you in plain sight. So I'll end with that. Collywog?
I just wanted to say thank you guys for being here today and sharing with us. This is just a beautiful, wow, sacred gathering. Thank you. Thank you so much. We love you.
Amber, you want to hop in? You got anything? Any closing comments?
I'd like one more person to go, and then I'll chime in 1 second.
Okay, Kacey, what you got?
I just want to thank everybody, Justin, for putting this together. Thank you for being so peaceful and calm. We need everything you bring to the table. Charlie and Colleen, your wisdom, your love. Just thank you so much for everything you've done over this past year. Remembrancer, your bursting joy. Just keep bringing it. Your creative thoughts of ways of thinking of all this stuff, your ideas. I love them. And all your superhero team that isn't here right now, like Marie. I watch all your guys' shows. Marie's fantastic. Galactic Greg, just all you guys, you're great. So I'm happy to be part of it, and thank you so much. This was really fun. Anytime.
This is such a surreal honor for me. I spent so much time watching Vegetable Police and Charlie Freak and even Justin before communing here. So it's really humbling to commune with you guys in real time. And I'm always open to talking to people about questions for diet. So if you want to, just email me at askamber@protonmail.com. And I'm really passionate also about coaching men specifically to help them separate orgasm from ejaculation. This is a major reason why people eat so much is because they're still learning to master their sexual energy. If a male loses their seed, they're losing magnesium, manganese, which make them magnetic, selenium, zinc, everything needed to make life. And so, Santos Bonacci, right? Yeah. Santos is here. Santos wants to say hi.
We love you, Santos. We love you, brother.
Great. Hey, Charlie. Hey, listen, give me a copy of this this show. I want to put on my channel as well. Get it out there, because I know what this beautiful brother has shared has been absolutely full of gems. So please send me a copy. Thank you.
We will, and again, it's just your teachings, brother. It's just your teachings.
Yeah.
We love you so much.
This is all you, Santos. We're all just
Thank you. Hi, Colleen.
refracting your knowledge.
Looking great.
So yeah, Santos was the first person who talked, very openly about raising the chrism oil. And so if you're a male out there and you want to learn more about your sexuality, I have free PDFs to share on the subject matter. I'm very passionate about it because in my estimation, the only way to end the war of the sexes, and I think you could literally look at any issue in society and see it as a dissonance between the masculine and feminine energy from the very beginning. And I really want to help men master their sexuality, build the mask of the spine, which is an anagram of penis, which is an anagram of pines. So the penis connects to the spine, connects to the pines, to end your pining, to end your longing, because you have found the point of life, which the geometric center is the third eye, that is Christ in you. And as far as I see, embodying the Christ in all of us is the only answer to what the world is presenting us. That is the mirror of all the horror, is reclaiming this immortality. So please reach out to me. Thanks for being vulnerable and questioning all these parts of our life. And Santos is here.
Oh, by the way, sorry, I just want to add, Amber's staying here at my place. We've got about I don't know, 30 or 40 like-minded people here ready to get things going. We're looking for a center where we can start an academy and a healing center. People are coming from all over the world, right here to Puerto Morelos, and right here is where we are going to undo what Justinian did 1,500 years ago when he shut down the Neoplatonic academies, and we are going to reopen them in the face of the elites, and truth is coming back to this plane big time. Thank you.
Truth is the only energy, and as we align more with that, that will be our ultimate protection, victory, and compassion to a creative reclamation of our stewardship in this realm. And like I said in earlier shows, our best way to be protected is to be nonviolent. And so it really does start with looking at these finer forms of prana and transitioning more and more to Ra, and really embodying the breath. And also, if you're going to eat raw food, no, you're going to have to breathe more, because you're going to have to increase your digestive fire. You're going to read an Ayurvedic text that we're not supposed to be on the raw diet. But a lot of Ayurvedic knowledge has been compromised. And the truth is that you just need to really reclaim using your breath to ignite your digestive system. And as that process is married, you're going to realize that the more you breathe, the less you need to eat.
It's absolute truth. And remember, the violence of this world comes from the outward ejaculation. It is symbolic and it is literal of the problems of this world. Colleen and I, we would never, ever teach you something that we didn't practice ourselves. Colleen and I do not spill our seed. And until you sort of learn this process, you're far better off with no fap and no sex, whatever. You do need the sex. The sex is beautiful. It is the letters themselves. There's not. It's sacred. It's completely sacred. And the letters SEX tell you everything. It's the most beautiful word for this unification of the two realms. But you cannot spill your seed. So in the meantime, if you're not sure this process, Colleen and I are going to do a lot. We'll do a lot with Justin and Amber. We'll do it all. We'll share it. And but just never. And then people will say, well, then how do you have kids if you have...
Well, tune in and you'll find out.
Yeah, well, but it's the Immaculate Conception, and this is how you're supposed to have your children, is immaculately. Let God do it for you. Yeah, we don't need to be doing this stuff.
Beautiful. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, well, I mean, as you can tell, Kacey, we get into, I mean, as you know, we get into all sorts of ranges of topics. So we so appreciate having you here and being so willing, and that's that true vulnerability, as Amber put it, and that's where true power comes from. It's just allowing the realization that we have been lied to about everything. And so therefore we have to be willing to engage with all of these subjects and revisit everything. Revisit, regeneration, all the RE words, as Charlie likes to put. It's all about that. So yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here so much. It's truly been such a magnificent show. It's really been magical. Kacey, we would love to have you back at some point, you know, whenever you're ready and willing, after you deal with your carnivore crowd a little bit.
Yeah, anytime.
It should be a fun one. But yeah, did you have anything else to say, Kacey, before we close out?
No, I'm good. I'm happy to be learning about this new spiritual side. I've been very just focused on the physical health and diet is everything. And I realized, nope, it's not. It's not the mind, and it's very powerful. So I'm blessing my food now with Charlie's advice. I'm like, okay, I'm removing all impurities. I'm giving this the nutrients my bodies need. So yeah, the mind is everything, really.
It's truly so powerful. And it's not to take away from the physical aspect to it, because as we've taught in the Bible studies, and just for anyone listening, this is, we reference the Bible a lot because it's one of the best versions of the one story, but this is the one story that you can find in all ancient texts. It's written in the stars. It's the same process that we all have to get to in order to discover who we are and what we're here to do. This is the hand guide, the hand guide to how we're supposed to go about this. But speaking of the physical, we're looking in the book of Matthew about how Jesus speaks of John the Baptist and how he represents the 5 physical chakras. And it's an important point to get through those. We have to address the physical first, but it is ultimately a place to catapult off of into those higher realms. So we have to start and lay that groundwork first, and then we move into the etheric realms, into heaven on earth. So yeah, it's a process, and we've all got to be respectful of where people are on their journeys, and recognizing that we're all here exactly in the right place, exactly at the right time, for the right reasons, and it's all divinely led, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful process. So yeah, thank you all for being here so much. Truly appreciate you all so much. So much love to you all. Thank you for being here in the chat. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. But yeah, until next time. Oh yeah, and I guess just to quickly announce, tomorrow Charlie and I are going to have a Q&A, and we're having a bunch of lovely guests on with us. That'll be at 2 p.m. Central Time in the U.S., so 1 p.m. in Mexico, and then and then Sunday we've got our song decode show, and then Monday, Miraculous Monday, with Marie, and then it just starts all over again. So we love you all so much, and we'll see you then.
We miss you, Ichabod. Come back home. Stop being wayward. Don't be prodigal. Come on home, Ichabod. We love you.
Love you, Ichabod. All right, y'all take care. Bye.
Much love.
Love you, Kacey.
Take care. Love you too.
Love you, Kacey. Yeah.